Hey guys, welcome to Downtime in the Hangar, where we talk about everything GBO2 and some other stuff sometimes. But anyway, um, going on into with the Western release this week. How was it? How was it for everybody? Emblem, you wanna start out here on this one?
Yeah, no, I'm pretty excited about the Western release. It kind of seems obvious when you think about it, but the the whole rollout of the global servers definitely means more people to play with. There are some weird issue. There's some weird times when like matches seem to be a little bit slow. And I was like, "Hello, dead game." But outside of that, like I think I could definitely say it's been overall positive. Like it's nice seeing new streams and in the directory. Like nothing against seeing like Magnum, Maniac, Gustav, and GamingEmblem, or like Ikaro or Chad or whatever else to like, and some of the like offshoot Asian streamers popping up here and there. It's pretty good to see some new faces. Like I'm happy to see the global releases attracting new players and streamers, and I'm sure there's more content on YouTube as well. So it's pretty exciting and interesting and a lot of fun. I'm happy overall.
Cool. Gustav, what about you, man? How was your week so far?
It's been pretty interesting. Starting out, it was actually kind of hard to see new players just because we were in A and stuff like that. It wasn't until I got smacked down a couple ranks that I just actually got to see people. That being said, though, some of the quick play was pretty brutal. Got people just jumping in there and getting mocked by people that are looking for different cost ranges to play certain suits that they're getting. So that's been a bit of a mosh pit for people when it comes to skill level.
Maniac, what about you, man?
Well, when I started the game, now here's it's something that I thought was going to happen is that it's a different client on the same server.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't really see anybody new per se because I was, you know, A minus area. So most of the new players aren't going to be getting into A minus in literally a day. Um, but I personally I have seen better connection quality
Yeah, that's
after the release. Um, I've been able to pull off tackles and counters where I thought I wouldn't. So there's a plus. In terms of seeing new players, I personally have not yet. So maybe sometime in the future I'll probably run into some new players.
Just go
yeah.
roll an alt.
Yeah,
Right.
well, and that's what I was gonna say. That's been my experience where I made an alt to do. I've pretty much been doing like the going up to A and
Mhm.
on a new account kind of deal, and it's been kind of interesting seeing the difference between starting out and then getting back to like right now it's an A minus and just seeing
Mm-hmm.
just the same people that
Mhm.
I've used to see kind of thing. And there's a few that'll be up there, but yeah, they're few and far between at this point if you're around A minus, which also
Are
kind
you
of
pretty much Are you
which
pretty much about to make your deadline for that?
Was trying to do it in about a week, but today's technically a week. So
Oh yeah.
I mean, but I've technically only done one daily today, three dailies one day, and played for 3 days of streaming. So
Yikes.
so technically I'm kind of at 5 days rather than a full week, you know. But that's what I'm going with. Um, but yeah, it definitely the server issue definitely kind of comes down to who you're getting paired with, and that's kind of one of the big things. But so
Yeah, the
like
nicer thing is that like once people start to catch up a bit in rating, we'll see them prioritize a bit more,
yeah,
and then things will be a little more consistent with that too.
well that's like I told a friend of mine about it, and he played recently, and he's pretty much just been checking the bars now, and he hasn't seen over 3 bars recently, and he's just like I'm like yeah it's probably where you're A right now, and that's you're just getting pretty much
JP accounts all
JP
day.
accounts for the most part, you know. Even at like in a server prime time, it's like most probably is just where there's more JP accounts still on, people no lifing it, kind of thing.
Also, just
Yeah,
have
I
to
think
keep in mind that like some people got potato connections or are actually Wi-Fi warriors too.
Yeah.
Yeah, Walmart,
as to
Walmart
whether or
connections
not-
are real.
In terms of connections, once the Western client got released, I've been having 5 bars almost constantly. So that's pretty nice. How's your guys' connection quality?
Most it goes down is like 4.
Yeah.
It's been pretty consistent.
Even in JP
Mine's been
games,
fine,
I'm
too.
close to 4 at least. And then when I see 5, I'm like, oh, here we go. That's
This
when I
is
start breaking out
real.
raid, man.
Lag types still float around a little bit.
Yeah.
and
Oh,
I honestly don't
Oh,
think
yeah.
we're gonna escape them. But
No.
it's
Teleporting
been
off of
it's
this
been better.
face.
Yeah, compared to what it was before, it's definitely been better.
No vanishing matches so far, so that's been nice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
My
I
biggest
haven't
Haven't
ran
ended up
into
in
one
either.
either.
my biggest concern, I think, though, is I wonder if there's any complaining from, say, the Japanese players
Oh,
on like
most
Twitter and
definitely.
stuff, because
They're always
now
complaining.
they're well. I mean, my thing is, before we'd be the 3-bar connection half the time,
Right.
Right.
and maybe at best 4. But now
Mm.
I see I'm 5-bar, and there's like 3 other 5-bar people, and then there's 7 3-bar players, and you look at their accounts that says Japanese. It's like they're probably Japanese players with the 3 bars going on. So I'm wondering, they're experiencing they try to tackle and then melee, and then you get as a support, you get the tackle on them, and they're probably like, what?
Yeah.
So I wonder
There
if
was
there's that kind of
There was
complaining
a
going on.
video that I saw on Twitter. It was someone versus an ACK guy, and he swung on him, and like he completely like missed him. They thought that they actually passed each other, but the enemy actually got the counter on him all the same, like a couple seconds later.
Now
Oh
that
my.
So there's stuff like that still going on. The interesting thing is that they're still going to be rocking the JP client. They have no reason to use the other client. Why would they bother?
Right.
So they're
Yeah.
still being prioritized with other JP players. It's just at different times of the day when they would just be slowly chugging along. Like maybe their matchmaking would be a bit slower, but they would still be matched with like people. They're getting this flood of other people from the Western client that are, taking the place of people that they would just have to wait longer for.
Mm-hmm.
In that regard, like just out of curiosity, where are you guys like where are you guys connecting from? Like I know I don't know how far away I would be considered, but since I live in Alabama, that's more of like the more eastern side of the US. Like
Yeah,
have you guys noticed, like I still seem to notice like 4 to 5 bars pretty consistently. Like where are you guys connecting from? Like which part of or how close do you think you are to the global like area or whatever?
Oh, I'm nowhere close to being to California. I'm on the far east side.
Yeah,
Midwest Michigan, so
yeah,
not that
I'm in
much
Kentucky,
closer
so
either.
it's
We're all
East
pretty
Coast,
fuck up far.
but
That's not too bad, all things considered, then, because none of us are really like on that side of the country.
what's kind of interesting though is I wonder if they're, where they are using, they're definitely using the West Coast Sony server. But I'm kind of curious if they're using any other servers that Sony has that would be either in Europe or even toward the East Coast as well, because I've seen some
they
people that
are.
are from Europe and they're sitting there with the 5-bar and I'm 4-bar or even 3
I would
bars
assume
sometimes.
so.
They should when they said that they were going to make it a quote unquote global release.
Yeah.
I wouldn't think that they would
They
centralize on
were
farm like that.
yeah.
If they do have others that they can point to.
Yeah, they made
hope
sure
they
that there
would.
was a client per major country or
Yeah, they probably have one in
continent.
Amsterdam. Like normally, I think that's where the big server farm is, somewhere around there. Germany is one of the big ones that I know a lot of them use for Europe. But then there's Atlanta, of course, Dallas, Chicago. I wouldn't doubt that there was some kind of server based on those, because it's kind of weird. I'll go from 4 bars one game and then 5 bars the next, and then then it's definitely a Japanese game and I'm down to 3 bars.
Right.
So it's like I feel like there's more than just the I guess California is where they've got
Yeah.
theirs.
Yeah,
Washington.
California is where.
Either or.
No, it's California. I actually remember reading an article where Sony headquarters moved all the way to California. So like it's the Sony headquarters from Japan that is based in California now.
I wouldn't doubt that there's more to it. I don't know if we're ever
Yeah,
going to get a straight
there
answer
is.
out of them for it, but
No.
networking is a little more complicated than just having it be a one. So
I was about to say it. Whew, gosh, I would be on a roll for hours to explain that. And half of all the viewers will end up leaving out of the boredom.
I don't know. They're probably all still connecting to the same type of thing, though. Like I asked Crossbone, for instance, because I know he's not in the U.S. and he's saying that he still like it still shows him connecting to like the same thing. Like at the bottom corner of the screen,
Yeah.
it shows like where you're connecting to and stuff. So I mean, if it's the same client, like I doubt, like I doubt they have like a European like base thing for the peer-to-peer connections to go through. It's probably just like the two whatever like centers or something they use for it, and it all just kind of like funnels through there.
But yeah, they've definitely got some kind of decent setup though, as far as finding a good host in wherever you are from, at least. Like I said, seeing some guy with 5 bars, being from Europe, and the rest of us being 4, and then like the people that just said Japanese is their location on their stuff being 3 is just like, okay, that's pretty cool. So I was worried about a lot of the European players, or even some people that are like in Australia and stuff. It's like, how is their connection going to look like when this happens? But for the most part, at least everybody on the Western client has had, even some people from Australia, they've said they've had 5 bars now from one Discord I'm in. So
I've heard those players connect better to the Japanese one.
Really?
In some
Yeah,
cases,
there's
though.
They do because,
Well,
globally
it
depends where you are, obviously.
Yeah.
I just wonder if he hasn't been checking his connection and then he's just been checking it now after he's been using the Western client and just suddenly being the host for the Japanese game instead.
I mean, it may also depend on which side of the Operation British Crater you live on too. So, I mean, there's a bunch of different factors to take into consideration.
But
you must be on that side where Japan's actually looking.
Yeah, pretty much.
But as far as the new players go, I think me and Emblem kind of got a little bit firsthand experience seeing some of the newer players. With the first day making that new account. Emblem, what did you think about
your clubbing crusade?
Yeah, the clubbing crusade.
Dude, we were
for,
just
for science though.
We're just welcoming players to the game, man.
Right.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. Welcome them right in.
Swinging arms wide open.
I mean, hey man, I'm all about that sink or swim method of learning. Like that's I mean that's how I like to learn. If I'm not going against the best, then kind of is a bummer sometimes. Like that's the kind of style I like to learn by. But yeah, as far as it goes though, it was kind of interesting seeing a lot of new players and seeing some of the strategies that they're trying to use. One of the interesting ones that I made a video about recently was bailing out of their suit every time it got to like 1/4 of health.
Oh yeah, I've been noticing that.
Even now that some of them are getting to like B+ and stuff, I'm noticing they're still doing it. So I was like, okay, making a video on that one.
Yeah, like stop doing this. Like you need to do it in like certain situations, but not like every single time. Like you're bailing too fast, pal.
Like yeah, like if you're at a point, cool, you're gonna capture or whatever, yeah, or bomb, but like deserted city over in this random corner that's gonna take like 50 seconds to get anywhere. Maybe not the best idea.
Right.
No, I was watching a streamer who just now started with the game. And I was talking to him and giving some pointers and stuff. And during his ground matches, I was just noticing that people just like, and I understand this, but they just don't know what they're doing. it seems like they just kind of blasted through the tutorial and just kind of went like, I want my Gundam, I want my Wing Gundam, or something like that, because they just kind of go all in there with their Zaku 2 Kais and just kind of sit there going like, oh, this isn't what I was looking for.
Yeah,
And I'm just like, well, yeah.
I mean, if you're streaming, just tell them Barbados comes out next week. Every time they ask.
oh man.
Yeah, what they were looking for came out several years ago, and they just weren't there for it.
You missed it. They only released the Barbados and Wing custom banner like for the single minute at rotation. Then they switched to some UC nonsense.
Right.
You should definitely catch it next week.
See, it happens within the milliseconds when the Zoc just appeared, so like it was like right there.
Blink and you miss it.
You missed it. You missed it 2 seconds ago, man.
Yeah. It's like, bro, I was watching when the rotation happened. What happened? It's like, yeah, you blinked, man. This really sucks.
Yeah, I got my Wing Zero custom out here using his double buster cannon over there. Buster rifle or something like that, yeah.
About as close as we're gonna get now is gonna be the Zoc.
Oh my gosh, though. Yeah, that thing's
Zoc.
The thing's awesome, actually. Like, but it's actually, I call it the good Zommel. Just because of how big it is, and it's actually kind of good though.
I'm glad you said the thing that will trigger the YouTube comments this time instead of me. I had it like a couple episodes ago for like Blue and Red Gundam for Unit 4 and 5, but I'm glad you decided to step on a landmine first.
There we go.
For that?
No, I have no. No one actually like comments on Downtime the Hangar videos. You can do that though.
Yes, please. But yeah, they definitely do some likes and dislikes, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it's kind of funny.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, sadly, your video. Well, no, I think it's like your video gets promoted either way if it's like the most.
Oh yeah, that's the funny thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's still like.
Yeah, it's still, but they just call interaction. But I'm just like, I see both of these, and I scroll down. I'm like, oh, there's nothing here. Okay.
I mean, just because it's just a feeling they got, I guess.
Well, don't worry. I'll put a rage comment in the comments like the Zommel's the best support at 500 and 550. Rawr.
Time to start throwing bait in the comments.
Oh man.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh man. No, but seriously though, better Zommel. But yeah.
I like its downswing.
But I mean,
it does seem like people have been showing it less respect now that the Zoc is around, though. Like Zommel's been getting pushed into whenever it actually shows up on a map.
Oh yeah. Well, that beam though, dude, it's got the super stagger. I know this is a topic for later, but still.
Yeah.
The Zoc is a raid boss, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Like, somebody taps you with that super beam, you're done. You've got the super stagger. You're down for like 3 seconds getting up. Like it's crazy.
I actually destroyed a GBO2 shield with it.
It must have already been low. It doesn't deal that much damage. Oh, he said 2? Yeah, it must have been low.
Yeah, it's a good way to get it started at least, but
it's a lot of damage.
You can't solo it.
I mean, even against raid like preference damage doesn't even factor into shields, so I wonder how much damage it would do. That's interesting.
I say it's about 7,000 something
with
a general type. So I guess it.
I was gonna say, like, your damage numbers sound way higher than mine, but I forget I don't have any mods on my Zoc, so feels bad, man. With no parts on my NA account. I needed it on JP, but they didn't give it to me.
Well, I did get to play it though. A friend of mine pulled it. And I was just like, "Yo, man, you gotta let me play that." So I was just like he came over and he was like, "Okay, here." So yeah, like, but I got to play one game with it. It's After capping it though, that one game, that was the first time I got to get in it. It was.
I was gonna say that jacking was pretty hot.
Oh, and then I got to turn around and destroy my own full armor. That was
just for kicks.
I don't know if I feel happy about that or sad that I destroyed my own mobile suit.
It's pretty telling.
But it's also
Almost
like,
there.
yeah, I destroyed my full armor. Dude, I was pretty hyped. Like he jacked
I
my
mean-
suit, and then I'm just like one shot with his.
If you think about it, it's almost like you got points for team killing. Like it's like denying. It's like the deny mechanic in Dota, right?
Kind
Just
of.
think about it like that. Yeah.
I mean,
Now
that's
your
one of the
mobile suit's
biggest
ready?
thing. Like speaking of jacking and stuff, that's an idea. Jot that one down. But like, if you jack a suit, like take it in, do as much damage as you can. I mean, if you can get kills, double bonus. But if you just get it low, bail out right there at like 800 health, turn around and just shoot it,
Mm-hmm.
rocket it. You got time. You got
Especially
You don't even
iframes.
have to. You don't have to do that as long as nobody kills it. You get the kill for it just for jacking.
Right.
a
Well, yeah,
suit.
yeah.
I mean, if you
But
feel
like,
like it's
but
gonna
if
get
they
killed
get
in
back
the
into it,
meantime,
if
Oh,
they
no,
get
I
back
see what
into
you're
it,
saying,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So like, if you still have like 30 seconds left or something, then it's like,
just to ensure that
oh,
you
I'm
do
at
get it.
800 health, hop out, rocket launcher, and then yeah, easy points. But
I see you.
yeah, so that's, and then you've just denied them their suit again for that 30 seconds plus however long it takes for it to respawn.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
That's
I've
fun.
always hated it when people stole my suit because I'm just like sitting there like, oh no, I can't.
You mean you don't have fun when you don't play the video game?
Well,
Like-
then I just go over to a spawn point and just go, I know where it is. Just use support fire on it, and then it usually misses anyway.
Yeah, I remember there was a space match where mine kept getting jacked, and I just had to spend like most of the match in a ball, chasing it around and killing it. Like, well, you get the fuck out of here.
At least in
Getting
space, the
myself back
vehicles
in
are pretty decent.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
the ball's
surprised how
awesome.
much work you can put in that.
Got a dodge roll, dude.
Yeah,
I know,
it's
man. The
goofy.
ball's a beast. Got that cannon. It staggers. Has a tackle, a dodge roll. Oh my god.
If only you could
This-
let it throw debris.
Wait,
Just
it has a
enough.
tackle?
It does have a tackle.
What? I
Yeah.
never
It
knew
does.
that.
Yeah. It'll like reach out for its little like feeler
little
arms or
claw,
whatever.
right?
And it actually, like, if you hit a mobile suit with it, it'll knock it down too. Like tackle don't play. The ball's a literal monster, man.
Oh yeah. Just have a game, go in, play nothing but the ball the entire time for a win.
I wish there were more. That'd be a good alternate game type. Just let you spawn with balls instead of mobile suits. But
Yeah.
Ooh,
unfortunately, we
like
just have to
the
deal with simple
okay.
battle.
Yeah, as close as we'll
Ball
get.
battle, dude. Let's go.
I mean, that'd be great. I think it'd be way more fun than stupid simple battle. But I
Everybody-
digress.
Everybody gets to a spawn point and grab a ball or something like that.
No, you mean you wouldn't even need the spawn point thing. You just spawn in a ball.
I'm surprised. There's
Oh,
been a fair amount
yeah.
of people in my chat during streams that actually prefer simple battle.
That's kind of interesting.
I like simple battle. I mean, you
I
don't
prefer
have to
target
know.
shuffling a little bit more between the two, but yeah,
I do
mean, it's
too.
not that bad.
I find it.
I don't know.
I find simple battle. Well, hence the name
Simple.
simple. But I find it more interesting seeing how it's mainly focused on like actual mobile suit combat instead of, oh, let me just go grab a few points. Oh, let me go place a bomb or something like that. No, it's just more like, hey, just hack and slash whenever you want and just kind of beat up on the enemy as hard as you can.
Not to
So,
mention the smaller compositions means people tend to stick together a little bit more.
yeah.
Unless they're just dropping at random points, which does happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one of the
Yeah.
features of simple battle. I don't know.
Nobody
My
spawn at the
problem
enemy
with it
base
is
for no reason.
my problem with it is when they introduced it, like the way they made it sound, like I honestly think I want a simple battle almost to be more like free battle where they dropped a team mechanic and it's almost like a free for all.
Yeah.
Like I think that would be
Interesting.
more interesting than just like a lightly varianted game type.
That'd just be like a melee mosh pit, but it'd be hilarious to
Oh
see.
my
people
Oh,
do
dude,
it.
that would be legit.
Like I mean, it would just be like a crazy mess, which I mean is fine because it's just a little fun game mode for the weekends.
Mm.
Like
Mm.
I think I honestly think it'd be much more enjoyable and a good way to mix things up a little bit. Like it doesn't have to be crazy. There's no teams. Everybody is like still like the same number of people. So like 8 or 10.
It'd be funny for
It's
them to do
probably-
like shrunken, like almost like a mega maps of that. or like using the practice map since it's smaller.
Mhm.
Just have people crammed in and start laying it on each other.
That would be crazy, dude. Like that would be. I was thinking more though, like, melee mosh pit. Instead of that, I'd be like, okay, I'm just gonna wait and blow everybody up with one
Just
cannon
take them
shot.
all apart from afar. I mean, I'm sure there will be people like that, and that's
Mm-hmm.
how people will start to peel away from the mosh pit and just start going into smaller fights. So keeping
Well,
that dynamic and like not restricting the seats that can throw down,
Oh yeah.
that might help out with stuff like that.
if they do make something like that, I can just imagine everybody's gonna pick an E-Freak custom and pop exam.
Which would be pretty hype. Just
That would be
having them
pretty
all zoom
legit.
around and slap the shit out of each other.
But then all like the smart support and general players would just clean up after their minute's done.
Right.
Or just, like you just have little impromptu alliances or something. And just like you see the guy pop exams and you and the general just kind of look at each other and just like murder them. And then you just fight each other. And it's just like all go in. Like
Which
you
would be
the
interesting
band
because
guy.
what, they all respawn, right? And they all just rush down to supports. The generals have to scatter, so it has different waves and phases when you do stuff
Mhm.
like that. That's pretty cool.
That'd be kind of interesting. Yeah, for sure. I want the free for all mode now. Like, I'm gonna start tweeting at them. Let's go free for all.
Just start yelling at Bamco. And
Simple
all
battle
"Give me
equals free for all.
Well, and then you'll get the angry Japanese players on Twitter going, "But this is a team-based battle game. You can't do that. That's against the rules."
I don't know,
It's
Maniac.
against-
I think you're like selling the Japanese player base short on Twitter
I
though. Like,
know.
you remember when the game like delayed the banner
Oh my
release
gosh, they
because of
were
the little thing?
so mad.
No, man. I mean, unless me and you were reading the different comments, like I went to the Twitter because I was like, oh, really? And I went to check it out. Literally every single comment on Twitter that I read personally was like, oh, it's all good, it's awesome. You guys do what you need to get it fixed. We understand. Like literally, like most of the comments I read on that post were like, oh, it's cool. We get it. Stuff happens. Like
Now,
I saw very like granted it was through a Google Translate lens, but
Very
like
polite.
a lot of it was mostly positive from what I saw. I mean, people could have posted up later,
I
but
think
like
it was like 3 to 5 hours after they posted that, so like it wasn't instant, but like there was a few salty comments.
That's
yeah,
typically how it goes,
the
though.
people
Like
who
the
pretty much
initial
weren't
reaction.
affected by it because it's already over.
The initial reaction is usually pretty positive because those are the guys that are like sticking to it just to get information, so that they know they're not crazy and that like things are actually gonna come eventually. The people afterwards are the ones that had enough time to brood on it, so they'll just throw out whatever they got at the moment. Grievance wise, and that's another thing. I'm still wondering if they're actually gonna have an English correspondence or if Bamco is gonna take up that mantle because
Did it even have an English Twitter yet? I was trying to see if there
No.
was.
that's what I'm
one.
saying. They don't have that.
Okay.
Well, and then like their and then if you look at their Twitter handle for like the actual battle op thing, it actually says like battle op. So I mean, you can't really have many. I mean, I guess you could have like English
like-
battle op or English
looked
Yeah,
like
just be
that's
battle op
GBO2.
EN.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
probably.
could be battle op EN.
It looked like someone like from the Midwest just made that. It looked like Battle to me instead of Battle Op.
Yeah, it did say it like they're
Well, I think the official Twitter like tag or whatever is like literally Badope or what Batope or whatever Badope 2, whatever
yeah.
it's shortened down to.
Battle. God, I should make that an
Battle.
actual emote.
Badope.
Badoo. Yeah. Let me actually take a look at that because I think that's what it actually is.
I mean,
Yeah, there it is.
character wise, it'd probably be
Batope 2.
Battle.
BATOPE number 2.
Bat,
Switch
let
to
me
a
just
D.
squeeze right past you.
Bad op 2.
Bad op.
Am I right,
Oh no.
boys?
Oh no. Op success. But so yeah, kind of back to the players though. As far as new streamers, like on your end, like I know, like I was saying, I got to play a new account through that. Did you see anything as far as new players, Gustav? Like stream
New
wise?
players not so much, but yeah, new streamers I've been trying to get in there just to see some people, other people that I can raid or have on auto host. One of them is actually up right now, Iron Giant. He's pretty good. He does a lot of other Gundam stuff as well. Fat Kid Gaming is another one. Hell of a name, but
What was it
some of
again?
these guys are Fat Kid Gaming.
That kid?
No, Fat Kid Gaming.
Oh, fat kid.
Fat
Okay,
kid.
okay.
There's a bunch more, like I'm looking right now, that I haven't actually seen. Hood Nerd is actually one that I hung out with, though. That was not too bad either.
Like in
Who's
real life?
Tan Man's Man Tan? That's a new one for me. What the fuck? But yeah, there's
wow,
actually a
quite
Mr.
bit.
King Piccolo.
That's pretty
Yes!
good, yeah.
Oh my gosh. And he goes, am I a new type?
Yeah, I type.
It's good to see. Like I said earlier, it's good to see a lot of new people. I
Yeah,
feel
we've
like I've seen a
consistently
few
been having like
FGC
3
people
rows
too.
every day.
Mhm.
And more sometimes. We've actually been breaching at least 100 viewers on that category, which is pretty
That's-
rare unless that one Chinese
yeah.
channel was on there for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're talking about Aviloon?
Mm-hmm.
I think last night it was up to 90 something when I was looking at it.
And we're at 104 right now.
There we
That's
go.
pretty crazy.
Like I
Oh,
know,
nice
I
for
know.
the directory.
The
That's like
crazy
decently
thing.
up there in Twitch.
Yeah.
Good. Sorry, Magnum.
Well, I was gonna say the crazy thing was here the other day.
Never mind,
It was like a gaming news channel though that was on. I kind of bumped it up there, but I was just like, I saw the viewers. It was like 900 and something. I was like, what?
Damn.
This is like day 3 or 4, something around there.
Mhm.
And I was like, what? Yeah, that
That's
was,
pretty
That's a big feels good, man.
yeah. And then I was just like, wow, dude. And then there was, yeah, just to get that kind of exposure on the game for Twitch. I'm like, yeah, let's keep it going.
Hopefully we can make a little bit more noise on like Twitter and stuff. See if they're
Yeah.
gonna actually try to cater to some extra things. In terms of the site or maybe just a separate Twitter, or at least having correspondence through either Sony or Namco to try to keep up with the game.
Yeah. But yeah, I really hope this ends up being pretty successful overall to show that there is a market over here.
Okay, I just finished scrolling down. As of me looking, Battle Op is at 92 viewers, just behind Age of Mythology, Tale of the Dragon, at 93 viewers. So if you you need to do a little bit of work, and if you can stay away from the Romance of the Three Kingdoms, you can watch some Battle Op instead.
It's true.
That's actually pretty legit. But yeah, anything else with the Western release that stands out to anybody? I mean, we kind of talked about the servers and the lag and stuff a bit. Yeah, my worry is them
that's one
changing.
of the bigger ones. And besides that, just the whaling. Now that we have access to currency,
Oh yeah,
a little bit easier.
That's a good point. I've actually ended
Nobody
up
wills
spending
on
money
this
now.
game.
Whaling? What's that?
What? There's no footage of anyone wailing on Twitch for mobile suits.
All we have is a banner over our faces.
I mean, I harpooned me as good Zoc the other day. So,
You and me both, brother.
One of the other guys. Oh my god, that was a saga.
Man,
How many harpoons did you throw in that water? God damn.
Yeah, I heard about that emblem and I went back to watch. That was
Oh, I thought you were there.
No, I wasn't there for that. I think that was when no, I was already in bed by that point.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Because I had to get up the next morning for like a doctor's appointment or something. So, and then I didn't get back till like 5 o'clock, and then I was like, oh my gosh, the Zoc.
You had to sleep? Nobody sleeps.
Yeah,
Sleep is
no.
fake.
What's wrong with me, man? But yeah, I do kind of find it interesting now that we'll be able to throw some money at it every now and then. I definitely will if they do have sales for myself. But I did do the $8 starter pack. That's pretty legit, I have to say.
Yeah.
30
Mhm.
tokens.
I wonder if they'll do any other packs going forward. That'd be kind of.
Usually, from what I remember, Japan only really did the starter packs. Like every so often, if there was like a sale on the starter pack, then it would be like, hey, look at this! This is a sale on the starter pack. Here you go. Here you go.
It was
here
really
you
big
go."
event stuff.
Yeah. So
Beginning of the game, like Golden Week, I think
yeah,
they did
Golden
it.
Week.
Yeah.
Maybe Christmas.
Definitely
that-
Christmas
like, that's
because
a-
I remember Christmas.
I
Christmas
would assume
had
they do it again.
There was one around March
Christmas-
to May. I remember there was like a half off the token cost or whatever. So like you could have probably got the 30 tokens for $50 or $15 rather than the like 28 or whatever.
Right.
So
That's
if
something to
they do
keep an
that
eye out
stuff,
for.
yeah, like that's I typically on free games I try to support them at least till the point that I've would be buying a game kind of thing. So yeah, I definitely want to spend more. I'm just gonna try to get as much bang for my buck as I can though.
And as always, it just depends on what's going to be on the banner.
Oh yeah.
Calculation abound for that.
There won't be any more banners. The Zoc is the greatest mobile suit ever made in all
We
video
peaked.
games and Mobile
It's
Suit
too
Saga.
late.
Yeah, I mean every other suit will just everyone will hoard tokens forever because no suit stands up to the Zoc in any form of combat.
Oh,
And what's the
Maniac,
point?
what happened?
It seems he's running away from an ACK guy
From a
that's.
Zoc.
Oh, whoops! I don't have a Zoc, but he's running away from an ACK guy that invaded him.
Oof. Those Zocs and At guys. The aquatic suits are really sneaky at getting into people's houses.
Yeah, man.
They need to start rendering that water, at least so that we can scoot on it with the Zoc.
Oh my gosh, dude! Like that's gonna be amazing if we get a water map at some point. Is that gonna be?
Slowly but
Is that gonna
surely getting
be?
there.
Is that gonna be Battle Ops 3?
It might be. It'll be
But-
their try, and everyone will be mad.
Okay,
At the
okay,
water,
just-
like it's just another space match. Damn it.
Just to kind of tangent this a little bit, if they did do a water map though, I think what's gonna happen if we get some kind of flight enabled stuff going on for Zeta, because
Right,
we've
all
kind
the
of talked about
transportable
those
suits.
suits. Yeah, we kind of get some kind of flight stuff going on.
Look at this man.
Oh man, he ran the ACK
Checkers,
guy off
what else?
with food.
Brought to you by Checkers.
Sorry about that.
Use the delivery code underneath the video to save 50% off your next food delivery.
Free delivery code 5
Delivery code GBS.
Hey, I see what you did there, Gustav. What is this? Sorry, I was about to. Sorry, like I was
Oh,
about
do
to
you mean
automatically
the
go on the
Gundam
show. What is this?
Broadcasting
What is this
Station?
GBS you speak of? But that's something else entirely. Anyway,
Oh my. Cough.
So yeah, I forget. Oh yeah, the space thing. Yeah, so if Zeta suits are flying around and doing stuff, and we actually get some kind of flight control type stuff on ground, then I could see them easily doing some kind of thing where you're, in a water map or even doing like a low gravity map kind of thing. I mean, again, this is kind of way down the
Yeah, I
road,
mean, you
or
also have the
GBO3
different-
type
We
thinking,
have
but
the ideas of like variable
Well, I
suits
don't
that
know.
still move like forward while still being airborne. So like the Wave Riders would have to do that on Earth. But you
Mhm.
also have, we're always talking about like the goof flight type. This fact that it essentially just be hovering, but like a little bit off the ground, be moving essentially like as if it were in space in that
Yeah.
mode. So I think some of the ones that like the Ashimar is another example.
Yeah. I don't really know how they're gonna pull that off. I mean, they could just go like, hey, just boost up in the air, and then hit the touchpad and you'll transform or something like that. I don't know.
I don't know. I think if they do that though, like transforming into a mobile armor needs to give you like air
Oh,
control
yeah,
level, like
flight
30
control
or
program. Yeah.
yeah, like level 2 or whatever the GPO 1 and 2 have.
Some sort of
Doesn't
top end
seem-
maneuver armor. or
The
whatever.
GPO2
Well, it
has
doesn't
the
seem strong enough.
flight control program.
Well, I'm just talking about the thing that makes you fall
Uh,
slower.
Right.
Like
Oh yeah.
with
Yeah.
with the current fall
Flight
speed,
structure.
I don't think you would go to mobile armor form and literally fall like a rock. Like they'd have to like boost it up some more or something, or just create free flight or something like that.
It'd
Yeah.
probably be something more free flight based on your boost bar, kind of like they do for the other transformations.
I don't know though. Like the only thing about that is like they wouldn't add it, but like that'd be, maybe I'm just saying too much, but like that almost kind of brings you to the territory of having god, what are the like base jabbers and you know, stuff like that. Like I don't think they'd ever do anything like that, but
That'd be kind of cool if they did though. Like if they had those instead of certain vehicles that you can actually get on and fuck with, like on the ground.
I think base
'Cause we
jabbers would be too
have
strong though.
Skirays as it is in space. We is similar principle, but that'd be kind of cool.
Like,
well, how would the base jabbers even work in the air?
I mean, it would just be
The same way the transformations would work.
Yeah,
whatever
it'd just
they
be the
do.
same way as like the Wave Rider would work, assuming like if they ever got to the point of adding it. Like I don't know, it'd be interesting. Like maybe if more suits have it, it wouldn't be too crazy. But like in the current, with my current understanding of the way the game works now, being able to like fly around just seems really powerful.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
like that would be the crazy part though. I mean,
You're also talking about like the ceilings that most of the current maps have. You'd also have to alter that, or maybe make more higher ceiling maps to cater to that kind of transformation stuff too. And that's going to be something that's interesting going forward because we have 3 more sections of cost range that we're going to be going through. You know, how are they going to split up the lobbies and rated and quick match with those in the mix? Like, what are their ranges going to be? Which ones are going to be more common going forward, especially when we're looking at Endgame whenever that happens, because the PS5 is now going to be holiday 2020. That just got announced today.
Oh yeah, that's right. So we could probably see GBO3 on the PS5 then.
The far flung, that might just be something that they try to run into the ground before they even like so much as entertain announcing it.
I don't know if they were doing that though. Like, you don't think they would just do like they did with Nex and port it to the PlayStation 5 and run GBO3 a little bit longer?
Yeah,
Man, I'm not ready for I'm not ready for Battle Operation 3 yet, man. I
don't think they are either.
I just wailed a bunch on the Zoc. Like, well, they don't need to release Battle Op 3 yet.
Yeah, that's the other thing too, is like they just did the Western release, and if we had like essentially another year, and then I feel like it's gonna be ported at first at least. So
which wouldn't be bad, just so that we have more consistent performance across our systems.
Well, I mean,
because guys that are running the Pro look a little bit better than the rest of us, and that's actually pretty smooth on top of the heightened performance because of the Western servers.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and then the other thing too, like, you know, with the better hardware, hopefully they can kind of push some things. Now, I mean, hopefully it's still not choppy for people running like a day one PS4.
I was gonna say they still have to they still have to cater to the lowest common denominator.
I was about to say I'm still running the 2014 edition of this puppy great year. I just got like this year. I mean, I just bought this PS4 like this year or last year. So yeah, I really don't.
Well, you better mute while you're eating. Hey.
We're just gonna wait anyway.
Oh, but yeah, I think as far as the engine that they've got though, didn't they essentially go with a new engine for this, or they brought people
it
that
looks like it compared to the gameplay footage I've seen for the first one. Shit, I hope
so.
Yeah, it's a completely new engine. As far as I know, it was built from the ground up.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. They pretty much brought in like the guys who did the first one, and then they have them working on the new engine.
Yeah. So what from what I understand, they brought in the same team who did Battle Op 1, and they made a new engine and said, "Here you go. If you want to port stuff, you're able to." That's kind of what they said, from what I understand.
So they were like, let's port a whole bunch of mobile suits from the last game and re-release them as new content to players at the beginning.
Now they're gonna have all this stuff from the new engine to do, and they'll be reimagined.
Sorry, I'm just being a d-bag. They release new suits. I'm just like, we can just shine up all the suits from the old game and make people pay for them potentially with tokens. Like, yes, Battle Operation 2, let's go.
Yeah, that's why I'm kind of hoping they're not just gonna go straight for the Battle Op 3 on the
Imagine
PS5.
if they try to expand the timeline even more. with
Oh
the-
my god!
And yet we start from the beginning.
Oh
and
my
everything,
gosh.
Like,
No!
because there's always gonna be those people that are like, well, where's like my GM trainer and all this other stuff from the older games? Like,
Yeah.
they're never gonna start from another point. And if they do, that'd be pretty ballsy.
Well, or here's something. They could have everything from, let's say GBO2 for some odd reason gets to the end of Zeta. All right, let's say that's the lifespan of this game. I'm having a feeling that they would have to make GBO3 a bigger game to fit everything from the last game into it.
Mhm.
If they wanted to say, oh, so here's a continuation of the last game, but it's just in a new name.
I think that'd be the best. I probably like some version of that would probably be the best way to do it in my opinion as well. But it's just kind of tough because the only precedent we can go off of is, granted, they changed the system, but the only precedent we have that we can go off of is the fact that they just started from step one
Scratch
from
new one.
the first game. But I kind of agree. I think something along the lines where, like, I don't necessarily need to have every suit in my hangar, but it'd be cool if we could just kind of like timeline wise pick up where we left off, and maybe in the new game it plays similarly but has new accounts. But we make a new account, like you can still like you can those suits are there in the DP shop like they would be, like they are now, but you like the progression system similar or something, and like the new banner is like, I don't know, let's just say like we get to the tail end of Battle Op 2 and like we made it to Zeta, everything's awesome, and like literally the opening banner unit for GBO3 is like double Zeta Gundam or something like that, and like everybody else is, I don't know, that might be a little bit weird. Like they'd have to give you, like they'd probably have to start everyone out with Grandpa Gundam and stuff like that. Like there's a bunch of different things to take from it,
or at least something
But,
from Double
be
Zeta just
interesting.
to confirm that that's where they're gonna start.
Like
The
I would
Dewaj is already
see
in the game.
Like-
the Dewaj was an MSV.
but I could see something like them starting people off with like a good 20 suits or something. That way there's a little bit for everybody to kind of start with. Kind of how the Western release ended up for newer players, only that'd be kind of only a little bit more, of course. Like somewhere around 20 suits. Just a solid number of suits that are pretty standard.
So you're
on
talking about a
every
pretty sturdy roster right out of the gate.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, well that's
definitely
what I'm
that
saying.
would
Like
be
like
pretty
they would
nice.
need, if they were going to go for something, they need 20 or 30 suits, something like that. Like a really sturdy, yeah. That would be the way I would explain it. Maybe not
Yeah,
30,
they just have stuff to bridge the cost.
Yeah.
Up to the Double Zeta stuff too, assuming the costs work the same way.
Right.
Yeah.
God, going past
Yeah.
700.
And give us water maps and low gravity maps, and then we're good.
Yeah.
Dude, don't worry. Whenever the Atlas Gundam comes out and the the Thunderbolt Act guy, they're gonna
yes.
release water maps with it for sure.
Oh my god.
Dude, yes. There we
Thunderbolt
go.
Act guy.
I know no one at Bamco or the Battle Operation team, but I know a guy that said that that's probably gonna happen.
Right. All right. We'll roll with that.
There we go.
I count on you.
But yeah, well, real quick, for the Western release, any other thoughts on that, or we want to talk about the MLRS and the ZOC?
Well, I guess to finish up the Western release, like there really wasn't much advertisement for it. Like
You're not lying there.
almost no advertisement except for one preview, like back in what was it, July or early August or something like that.
So I got a couple articles. PlayStation did an announcement off of that for the October games that are going to be coming.
Right.
And then they also made another post on Twitter and Facebook with that trailer. And then after that, finally Bamco woke up after that and made a post of their own. And that's about what we got.
They premiered a game at Gundam Beyond. That's the I think it was San Diego Comic-Con as well. So I mean, it wasn't like, I still think they could have done more. Like I would have loved to have seen ads on Twitch and YouTube.
Yes.
But I mean, they did have they did like make a showcase event at that con as well.
I didn't know
So
about that. That's pretty cool.
How
I
did...
wish I wish I had known about it a week, like more than a week before. I would have gone, man. That'd have been awesome.
How did Gundam Versus advertise?
Barely. This is as far
Barely.
as I
Really?
knew.
I'm not sure.
I heard
I
there was
think
a
I saw
demo.
like
Trailers
maybe a
and stuff.
TV spot like once. That's about it. That's probably at most like peak when they were actually dropping it.
I know I saw that there was a
Hmm.
demo on something, and then I played the demo, and then I saw like a commercial. I don't know if it was on YouTube or where, but I remember seeing some kind of like trailer commercial on something, and that was about it. But but real quick,
Needed ads.
I'm getting invaded by an egg. I gotta go let my dog out.
Oh no.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Rip.
Bo, what the heck? Even though that would be true, but what the heck?
But that's a good question. I mean, I know for a lot of like Japanese game releases though, I'll like I'm subscribed to like, interest like similar, like Amazon will be like, you checked out this, you might like that.
Right.
And I think like I have a similar thing for Play Asia. I think they call it a personal agent, at least they used to.
Yeah.
Like literally whenever like Super Robot Wars, Gundam,
Mhm.
waifu game number 37,000
Yeah.
comes out or whatever, like they'll send me an email like these games you can pre-order this stuff and stuff like that.
Well, speaking
But
of
that's a good way to know.
speaking of Play Asia, they hardcore pushed T in their advertisements. Like they had
Mhm.
background banners and a whole bunch of advertisements. I'm like, wow, that's a first. I honestly didn't really see that much advertisement for an SRW before.
It
But
makes me
Well,
wonder what they're gonna do for cross race coming up.
yeah, I'm pretty sure those games are like I can only assume, but I'm sure those games are like big selling points. Like even
Mhm.
with the market being as small as it is, like just looking at it in regards to like the Western player base, like it's still a Chinese website, so I'm pretty sure they've
Right.
got a good number of Chinese players that are looking forward to that game. On top of other players from across the market that want the English language version. So
Right.
go more power, go for it. I think it's a good game to advertise. Like SRW is still pretty strong. Most
Mhm.
people over here just don't know about it.
Sadly. And the only reason why it won't come over here is partly because there's just a lot of licensing issues that we cannot get around.
Which game?
Yeah, it's Super Robot Wars.
Oh yeah, I definitely
We
want
were
to check
just
those
talking
out.
about stuff. They're fun. Like if you like mecha stuff in general, they've got all the robot IPs you could ever want,
Yeah, I've been watching you
Mhm.
play some of them.
except for
So.
Macross. Just nowadays. Just nowadays, Harmony Gold has got a vice
God.
grip on
Oh my gosh, yes they
the
do.
And they will never
Macross.
let go.
Oh no,
Yep,
it
they
won't
renewed the
because
license for some reason.
they renewed the license.
Yep.
They're gonna keep renewing it unless we like make the company fucking tank. I mean,
Because
I
it's
don't even...
that's a Tatsunoko.
No,
Is it not?
Big West. Big West owns Macross.
Oh, okay, is that a Japanese company?
Yes.
I actually thought it was Tatsunoko. Okay, that's cool. That's different than I thought. But okay, yeah, them doing that is like nuts.
I never understood it because they actually had an article right after they redid the deal that the original Macross creator was pissed off.
I bet
That
he
they...
was.
Because he's
Yeah.
like, what? Why did you do that? Because he knew that Robotech was a butcher of his own project, like a butchered project of his, essentially. Because all they did for Robotech was that they just spliced 3 shows together and just kind of rolled with it.
Hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I've heard some people that like Robotech a lot say that it was a very good undertaking. But
I like Robotech. I'm a fan.
I've never
Robotech
seen
was
the other
okay.
parts. What is it
Robotech
like?
was
Macross? Is it Mospeda?
yeah. So what it
yeah.
was it was
Mosfeta and Megazone.
Yeah, I think
it
you're right.
was Macross and Megazone were in the Macross saga, and then
Southern Cross.
Southern
Southern
Cross
Cross.
was
Mhm.
Southern Cross, surprisingly enough, and Mospita was the Invasion series, or well, I call it Robotech Invasion because of the PS2 game.
So,
But
how
yeah,
about that Zoc?
that
Yeah.
Zoc, man, heavy beams.
A little bit of tangent, but
A little bit of a tangent.
but yeah, the Zoc. I mean, so it has the normal beam that it has. I feel like just shooting it is better than charging it up because it's just
I
the
agree.
low amount of heat that it generates.
Yeah, I mean, if I have advantage and I can nail it, then it does pretty good damage on its own with that charge. But once someone closes in or like knows you're there, yeah, just lay it alone. You might
Yeah.
as well.
Well, I mean, I think you get more damage out of it just spamming it like what 3 or 4 times, and you've done more damage than a charge in like one shot, and you're overheated.
There's also the idea
So
that like those are all individual beams too
Yeah.
on the chest. So depending on what they hit at what angle, that's gonna
It's
vary
very
a little bit too.
Juagu-like
Yeah.
in that regard. But the damage is really good. I mean, even for like me, on my new account where my only range mod is the like level 1 and 2 range modifier.
Mhm.
So that's like 7% across 2 parts extra range damage. I mean, I still hit over like 2,000 damage on an uncharged shot, assuming I hit like with all the beams. So
Yeah.
it's not too
Mhm.
shabby at all. Like it's really powerful. Like God forbid you like slap somebody down and just you can get like 2 really good shots in their legs
Oh yeah.
while they're
I'm
recovering
surprised how
from
well
the
it actually
the
holds
shock.
its own at close range like that, just because of the way that it moves with its melee.
Yeah.
Its side and front neutral are actually pretty fast. The big scoop that it does for its backswing actually gives it some.
Shoryuken.
Yep.
Yeah. Right.
Not necessarily priority, but it's a little harder to deal with.
Oh yeah, it's
'Cause it still
downright
has that low
fierce.
melee, so
Yeah. I mean that's the thing. It's a support that has some really awesome close range. Like, yes, please.
I don't know if this is something that's a bit of an exploit, but I've been seeing some videos of people using the reversal skill that it has to turn around. It actually, when it actually goes a little bit stiff before it actually turns around, that
Yeah.
animation sometimes cancels out staggers or knockdowns in
Oh,
melee.
that
It's
is
like
actually
down. Sorry.
that.
Keep going.
I'm sorry. The skill reverse that it has, it specifically says when you go into reverse, melee gets canceled.
Hmm.
So you can't deal damage to it while it goes into reverse.
So that's pretty high. I know a lot of people were pointing that out when they were getting
Wait, what?
reviews in on the Japanese
I
side.
think you said you can't deal damage to it while you're reversing. That is not true.
Well, no, I mean
Can't stagger it.
staggering and
Okay, yeah,
staggering and
definitely you
knockdown.
can't
That's what I
stagger,
Yeah,
but it
it'll
definitely
get
takes
hurt,
damage.
but
Yeah.
yeah,
I was
if
gonna say.
you can't get knocked down in that, that's still pretty hype. People have been taking advantage of that, but also, if you have too much pressure on you, you're having your commands interrupted by whatever you're getting hit by. It's a little bit harder, but still.
Melee priority is a thing too. Like the Zoc has 0 melee priority.
Yeah.
Yep.
Or low. But if anybody's attacking you, and you try to attack them back, they're just going to ignore you. So you got to be real careful with that.
You may as well just tackle half the time.
Yeah.
The hitbox on his tackle is a little bit wonky because it doesn't count the arms; it's just the body.
Yeah.
So you'll actually kind of bound around people depending on what angle you take your approach on.
I don't know, but you have a lot of hitbox to connect to melee swings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the Zoc
Like all
is
you
a
have to do, he
literal
just does like a
monster.
little flick on his arm, and it's just like, "Wow, you fell the fuck over."
Yeah, the Zoc's like a kaiju, man. It's crazy.
Seriously though, the funny thing is like I go into a 450 game and it's like, wonder what's on the enemy team right now. Okay, I'm a support. I'm rolling up in my mud rock and I'm seeing health bars. Okay, one pops in, one pops in.
One's
Oh
way
no, they
up
got a
here.
Zoc. They got a Zoc. No, no. So I've just been playing like Dom
I
Barrage.
feel a little bad for the MLRS because it did have some good reverence when it first came out, and then the Zoc just threw all that out the window.
Well, I mean, like,
And it's been doing good. Like it still has some pretty bully melee on it because it has the same moveset as the O2 for the raid version.
Yep.
Those missiles are definitely nothing to fuck with. but it's just not a Zot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
don't
being
know.
said, having it
Still
being
want it.
beefier, having priority against generals, and also still having that stupid big shield definitely helps it out.
Oh yeah. I still want it. 43 boxes, man.
Well,
I want that shit. Real
43 boxes down.
bad. Oof.
And remember, since it's a GBO2, it actually uses the same Vulcans too, so you get really nice damage out of the Vulcans.
Oh yeah, the Vulcans are
Good
insane
stagger
for
threshold.
general.
Not to
Yeah.
mention the type advantage on that's nasty.
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
type advantage with those with stagger, and then you can go into it's insane.
Yeah, your straightforward rocket, so then forget it.
That thing is dumb for support. I'm just saying, like that's why I want it so bad. Like that is the 550 that I need. I need that
It
in my
feels really
life.
similar to Zaku number 37, late production fast Zaku number 37 with the boombox. You
Yeah.
know, whatever it's supposed to be called, high speed R2. Yeah.
If the simplified rocket launcher
Yeah,
became
simplified.
a support fire,
Oh god.
Oh man.
like if you could
And,
legit
like-
just shoot it up into the air and have it come back down, then that's what the MLRS is, and that just makes it worse.
So
Well, I mean, it's just its grenades at that point, right? You just think of it like that.
Yeah.
instead.
yeah, I was gonna say how does that
Oh.
actually fire? I haven't got to see the actual fire mechanic of that.
So if
How
you've
does that
seen
work?
like some other suits that have missiles on them, they actually have a little bit of travel time up before they angle back down.
Yeah.
These go way the fuck up and angle
Yep.
back down.
So
But
it's
they
just a
also
standard
have,
missile?
Like a mini airstrike.
Yeah, but
So
they
it's just a
also
standard
have
missile aiming, though?
more. Yeah, they have more direct missiles that you can also use on top of those.
Yeah.
What I-
Think about it like this: if you aim somewhere and your reticle's blue, the missiles will like land in a
Generally, that area.
yeah
Okay.
around where you aim.
Mhm.
That's why I call it more of a support strike. Like they're not gonna all hit the same spot, but in a general area they'll do it. Kind of like the
They don't miss a Zoc.
So it's the
No,
full
they don't.
armor. It's the full armor if
full
the
armor
missiles was
missile
good.
barf. Yeah.
And they travel much
Yeah.
From downtown further.
Well, I was gonna say if you try to fire far with the full armor, I mean your missiles are gonna be like one's gonna be over here, one's gonna be like over there, and
It's like the range. This is the range on the
Missile
missile attack for the
Cthulhu.
full armor. Like that's about as far as they go. They did
But-
their best,
but they
you're
do
like,
this.
"Oh,
They go
You just, like,
everywhere.
You just like sneeze it. There it is.
Yeah, pretty
Yeah.
much.
Where did
Yeah.
they-
True.
And if you manage to, I think it's like 2 or 3 missiles hit, you can actually stagger somebody with a full armor. But I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna actually try this on my new account to see if I can pull this off. Like I get like 1 stagger out of like 10 tries. I'm like, okay, nope.
Yeah, the Thunderbolt doesn't have much of an easier time with that either, because it has a similar thing on it because it is still an FA.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's not that bad defense mechanic though. I mean, just talking about
Yeah,
that.
like
suit
just
in general.
get the fuck away from me.
Yeah. If your cannon's on reload,
Yeah.
it's you have a better stagger chance than shooting Vulcans at them.
Yeah, that's true.
That's fair, especially if you're singled out.
I don't know. I might just switch to a beam saber at that point though.
And think about it like that too. Like it has a little bit of range. It's multiple projectiles, so it punches through maneuver armor better compared to the cannon too.
The
Like
consecutive hits on it.
yeah, you probably have to practice with it a little bit because I'm no full armor main, but I can see in the right spot. Like in some sense, the Vulcans kind of do the same thing, but it's like quick multi-hitting. And if they're like in the range where like actually multiples hit, you can probably knock most raids out, except for maybe like the Gian or something, since there's maneuver armor too.
I would say you would have to speed up the missiles on it though to make it a little more reliable for that, because right now it's kind of like, you know, you can shoot.
is a little
You
slow,
can
I agree.
literally stand and shoot in the same spot, and 3 missiles will hit the guy, and then none of the missiles will hit the guy, and it's like,
It's more so the delay from when it actually activates.
and then
'cause
yeah,
they
and then it's
come
like
out
up,
fast.
and then toward the target. Though that's the thing. So they can already hit you at least once with a melee sometimes, and close that distance half the time before
I
they're
think
even
they
getting
really
hit.
need to, because didn't they do a buff similar to that for the barrage on the
Yeah,
missiles?
they sped the
If they
missiles
could
up on the
apply
barrage.
that to the full armor, that would be pretty nice.
Yeah, then it would be kind of like that Hail Mary, like, okay, last resort. I
Yep.
either stagger this guy or I don't, and then
Yeah,
you
full
could follow
open
it
on
up.
them and hope it staggers.
Yeah, like
That would be
I
the
could do
actual
that.
purpose of that for once.
Yeah, I could actually go with that, and then switch to the beam saber and knock him down or something,
Mhm.
you know, and then run away. Then yeah, But
Maximum honor.
hey
But
man,
I like the
get away from that raid
MRS,
type.
Overall,
Well,
like
and
you can do a
then-
lot of bully stuff.
Oh yeah,
The-
that's
the carry on the swing is
Oh,
very
yeah.
nice. The Vulcans are really good.
Mhm.
Like all things considered, is pretty solid. It feels, for me personally, it feels less supporty than a support, if that makes sense. Because I
Mhm.
honestly feel like it feels like a bazooka suit to me.
Yeah.
More so than a traditional support. Which
Mhm.
that honestly may be what high cost support
Turns
needs.
into.
Maybe as you get higher cost, the effectiveness of the more traditional, like snipers, will probably still be good just because they're far back. And maybe like I don't know. I hope the destroyed city map comes out and we're able to like see a little bit better. But maybe the more stationary, like slow type of suits. I'm not saying that the MRS is super fast, but it definitely is mobile, and maybe that's like kind of the direction support might move in some cases. Like there'll be obvious like slower stationary ones, like with the how do you pronounce it? The Z or whatever. You know what I'm talking about? The one that's literally just like a missile.
Oh, the Zessa?
oh
ZSSA.
yeah.
The Zessa.
This is yeah.
Yeah.
However,
That thing would like literally. Oh my gosh! Just like lore-wise, the Zessa is literally a death trap. If it gets hit at any of its missile bays,
Ammo
it's
rack.
dead.
All day. Oh, I forgot about this. It's crazy because its legs fold out and have extra
Mhm.
missiles too. Like the entire front of
Yeah.
this thing is just a battery.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, beam
So,
seekers
like-
man, I think would like blow the entire suit up.
Just one hit's gone.
um,
It's a
So
literal death
it
trap.
actually debuted in Double Zeta. Did it actually come out during the Zeta?
No, it was a Axis Xeon suit. It was
Mhm.
not. It was not during Zeta at all. You had the Gaza Seas, and
Right.
yeah.
And
that was about
The
it.
Gaza D, I think, might have
Gaza
come out at the
D, Gaza.
tail end.
Well, the Gaza D came out in Double Zeta.
Yeah, it's in
Mm,
double
okay.
Zeta. Yeah, I'm rewatching it right now, and well, and finishing it at the same time.
But
So,
yeah, that was more just for example's sake though. Like I think if we got a suit that was like that, where it's literally just like a mobile missile battery,
Mhm.
you might see that. But I could see like I wouldn't be surprised. Like I could still see them doing like the old style, but it wouldn't surprise me at all if like higher cost supports kind of moved in the direction of being a little bit more mobile focused, because it is a big deal. And obviously, as you get higher cost, the suits get higher in performance. I still don't get how dropping the beam bazooka and picking up rockets makes the GPO2 notably slower and unable to swing like
Yeah, it's gotta
two
give it.
times. Like I think it should. I think it would have been maybe it would have been too strong. I personally think the MLRS should have had melee combo controller level 1.
Yeah, and I mean, it
Maybe.
That
still
would've
doesn't
been
have the
nice.
priority to make up for that, so it's like they might as well have kept it that way.
yeah,
That
Because they
might
can
be
swing all it
strong,
wants,
though.
but it'll still get bullied through by raids, which is the way it should be, because it's the typing on it. So yeah, I don't see why they would have taken that away. It still bullies with that downswing just because it's a 2-phase attack,
yeah.
as it is.
Maybe
And
they
I think
thought
that's
that was
probably,
too
like, the
strong
mindset
though,
behind it.
because yeah, maybe they thought having 2 swings was too strong. Because if you manage to hit like 2 generals with that, and then get 2,
Mhm.
like just do a neutral and then into a downswing, like pretty much if you
I don't
got
know.
any kind of hit on before, they're dead.
Yeah, but I mean, at the same time, though, like
There's also some
if a
550s
raid
general-wise
connects
that'll
with a
still like
support,
prioritize you.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. I mean, I guess
I mean, if the GPO2 connects with the GPO2 MLRS,
Yeah.
it murders it to death if it's 3 swings. Why can't the
Yeah.
MLRS have 2? But I don't know. Like
I mean,
maybe the
there's
I
more
haven't looked at the
generals
stats.
though. I do get that argument that there's more
You're
generals.
right. I understand
So
that. But like, do you think that would be just like they're actually paying attention to the meta? Because I mean, what if the team comp was like, let's say everything was the same right now, and the basic team comp was 3 reds, 1 blue, and 1 support. Like, do you think in that regard, giving an extra swing to the MRS would be fine? Because I mean, like, because if you base off the meta game, like, I understand like meta is important,
yeah,
but like, that could change. Like, for all we know, like, who knows? Like,
Mhm.
I played a Western match the other day where we literally had our team was just that 3 raids, one support, and one blue. And honestly, that could just be because everyone wants to play where they want, and there's and newer
yeah.
players don't know exactly what they want to do or whatever. But
Mhm.
you know, if they're making suit balance decisions based on like the current meta, I don't know. It could be weird down the line, but I guess I could always just make adjustments. It's just interesting. Like I don't really know. Like I'm not trying to say like I have a particular stance on it. It's just more of an observation, I think.
It'll be interesting to see where they pull their data from for that going forward. If it's actually going to be between both clients, or if it's going to still be based on the JP stuff.
I think at this
That'd
point
be
they should be
interesting.
looking at both.
I think they will be too.
Yeah,
I
it'll
think it'd
probably
be
be both.
ridiculous for them not to.
Because here's how I'm looking at it. We may end up having two completely separate metas in like a month.
Hmm.
We could have, the bazooka downswing in the Japan client, but we may have, I don't know, like
Skipping the bazooka entirely and just
like
going melee or something stupid.
right, or just
Full
like
on firing lines. Like,
right,
Lord knows.
like everybody could be using like a bullpup machine gun, just gunning down everybody. Who knows?
I have been seeing people run the GPO on the bullpup, by the way. Like
I've
several
seen
different
that too.
instances of it.
Yeah.
With level 5, you can get some serious damage.
I've been
Mhm.
wanting to see some. I do want to see kind of like a meta shift somehow, or just to see more people willing to try different things.
Just throwing
Because
ourselves against the wall to see what
yeah,
changes.
like
It's gonna happen.
yeah, that's I mean, which that's my motto of how I play most games anyway. Is that so? I mean,
I was gonna say, Magnum, you cut off there. You okay?
oh, I
So
mean
I make
that's
sure.
yeah. Well, no,
The
I mean
meta
that's
console is hyped
that's
to
pretty much
stream.
that's pretty much how I play most games. I pick my thing, and that's what I do good, and one trick it all the way to the top. There we go.
Mhm.
So
But
meta or not.
just to kind of touch up on what Maniac said, like I agree. Like I can think of examples where maybe it's easier if there's a larger player base, and this might be the case now. But cultural, just difference in cultural differences will and preferences will impact how the meta works too. Like I can think of a bunch of fighting games where like Marvel vs. Capcom and stuff like that, where JP players or just non-Western players will play like characters and stuff like that that you would not even see like a Western player even dream of touching, vice versa. So that'll definitely happen, I think. Like it may not be as dynamic in this game just because. Well, I shouldn't say that. I mean, 2D if we're using the same example, 2D fighters are pretty much in this like the base idea for the game is in a similar vein. But I think we'll definitely like once people get used to stuff and start playing around with things and get a habit down. I think we'll definitely see probably see some differences in like suit choices. Like there might be suits that you wouldn't have been able to dream of queuing with um, when we were just playing like with mostly JP players. That in a more Western oriented lobby they'd be down with because like, oh well, you should of course run the Akai. It's super disgusting. It's got stealth and can stagger and as a dodge roll and it's really good. Or like the Zogok
Mhm.
or the well, I mean I've seen a lot of Zogok recently, but you know what I mean, like the
Yeah, I was gonna
Yeah.
Zogok
say
and
I've
stuff
seen a
like that.
couple people give the Echo a shot
I
recently.
was gonna say I've been seeing a lot of that guy, especially on the alt account. Even where there's like one or two Western players, that are just getting to B plus. When I was getting around that range, I was seeing a lot of that guy every time it's 200 cost. Even some 300s, I was seeing some that guy. Which
Mhm.
yeah, I mean I like it. I think it's a great suit. But like you got a great combo. You got two staggers on the way to the target. Like that's pretty legit. If you miss, well, just
You're gonna
you,
get melted.
you gave
You're gonna get
yourself up.
swiveled.
But I mean, typically, you shoot once. If they do their dodge roll, you've got another shot with it, and you still can close that distance. Like it's a solid suit, really. So I don't know. Yeah, I'd like to see more interesting plays coming out of people, and I think we might actually get some of that as long as we get 2 weeks into the game launch
The
or
thing
3.
that the thing that interests me is once we get out of October, when that tends to drop is gonna actually be gone,
Yeah.
and how players that are late to the game on the Western client are gonna start
Oh.
faring after that.
Yeah.
Because they're gonna have a whole different perspective on how the game is gonna be run because they have less of a roster coming right out of the gate.
Mm-hmm.
Because right now there are a fair amount of people that are like, yeah, I just want to run my Gundams and my high-end suits and fuck around, and oh man, I feel so slow, or like I can't keep up with some of these other guys, and it's like, well, now you're gonna be running whatever we give you, and if you're lucky, you can get really good with that trainer and maybe start dominating some of the lower cost matches. But it's gonna be a
Yeah.
hot minute unless you're really lucky on that gacha until you can actually start buying stuff because of how
Right.
the DP shop works, and not to mention the RT shop.
That's actually an interesting point. Now that you mentioned that, I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. This is technically a limited thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Not to say that we won't have other limited events. You know, if they do another Halloween one, they'll probably have a suit related to that. November's gonna have another ranked match, so they're gonna be having some of the guys get into D and C League. Maybe if they like got up higher, so they're gonna be fighting for those if they actually do well in their brackets, whatever that suit's gonna be.
Yeah, I think I've been a lot of the videos that I've been making. I think I've been talking more about the 10 suits. So that's actually something I probably need to put into something. Is like here once it runs out, whenever that disappears. What is it, 60 days or something like that?
Yeah, it's gonna be ending on the 30th.
On the 30th. So yeah, I'll probably make a video sometime around there, being like, hey, here's what you need to buy.
Do if you didn't get this.
If you didn't get this, buy these in this order if you want to play general, if you want to play support, or if you want to play,
Just give them a guideline.
I will say though,
lucky, just get the Zoc.
If you start at the end of the month,
just wait for the Zoc.
Just get the Zoc. Just get the Zoc.
You'll get a shit ton of other stuff along the way. You'll be all right.
Oh, I want the Zoc. Oh wait, look at that! I got 2 levels of the GO4. I don't want that. I want the Zoc.
That was me, man. I got the statement, and I was like, God damn it! Why did I get this? And that was on my second time spin.
Oh my god!
Zoc level 2.
Oh man,
the game is rough. I actually want to keep singing about the Zoc's praises. You know, now that we brought it back up, I mean, we didn't even like talk about the what's it called, the
super head beam.
Yeah, the big super beam.
Maniac, you probably know. What's the actual name of it?
It's a phone. No. It's called the Master Phonon Beam. I don't know why it's called Phonon, not Photon. Phonon. I don't.
Why is it not like even more so? Why is it not called Particle? I mean, isn't everything a particle?
Yeah, well, I'm not sure why they didn't call it a particle cannon. Like even lore-wise, it's called a phonon cannon.
It's funny because the wiki does call it just a it's a phonon master gun, and it's at the top of the Zoc's body is a phonon master gun, capable of firing all targets above it. It can be used to great effect as Zoc's cruising underwater. So it was supposed to be something that it did on the move while it was underwater. The fact that it bends over to do a giant Kamehameha. It's not actually
seriously though
use for this thing.
No, that is not what it's originally for. And I think it's supposed to have multiple purposes because I think, if I remember correctly,
similarly to the
if I can remember this correctly, I think it's supposed to have the net thing that the GOG has.
Oh, that red actually cancel stuff out because the Thunderbolt Act guys had that too.
Because it was supposed to have a net dispersion at the same time, like at the same point. So like
that'd be kind of cool.
The particle cannon and the net were like in the same cone, but they were in 2 separate levels, if I was not mistaken. Like,
so the awkward thing is that like the other gaming debut for this that I remember was also Federation versus Xeon, and most of its sorties were also on ground.
But in Fed versus Xeon, like there really wasn't much.
I never got it in G Generation Wars, but that would have been hype.
Like I think the funny thing though is in the show it gets one shot.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like I think we were talking about this at some point, but the Zachrello would be a good space equivalent.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the Zachrello. Yeah.
Was that thing on the ground? Like on Earth? The Zachrello. I mean,
No,
I
the
didn't. I don't
Zuccarello was
remember.
a space unit. It was the
Okay.
one with
It was
the
the one with those weird
claws
little
and the
claws and
face.
I mean, I know what it looks like. It's just like I feel like I haven't seen all of Mobile Suit Gundam the original, but like I've only played like games, and whenever I see the Zaccarello, it's like never in space. So
Yeah,
I
I was
just
gonna
like
say in Versus it was
I
on
know it's
ground.
like a
Yeah, so I
bad
get what you're
basis.
Because I specifically remember the episode where Amuro was fighting it in space.
Honestly, he was like really confused as to what it was even doing. It was just like
Right.
it was just a really weird encounter.
It's a giant face of murder death sites, so you know, I get it. It freaked me out too.
I can't believe it has variants, by the way.
Oh yeah, that's
Wait, the
course it does.
Zaccarello
Yeah,
has
dude.
variants?
Yeah,
Of
Oh,
course it
the,
does.
The
gosh.
Bartizado, the Brarello, and the Ungarna.
Oh my gosh.
And of course, there's a Kai version and a Rainer Krimzommer custom. So there's actually an Ace that ran this.
Oh my gosh, an ace that piloted the. Oh my gosh. Well, we
That's
all know
goofy
that
as hell.
there had to have been an ace that piloted the Zoc too. I mean,
Wasn't what was
Probably.
the actual production for that? Was that the only one, or were there like several?
I mean, there are different forms, like the ones with like the gigantic legs and stuff.
Oh yeah,
like
Hey,
the
that.
spider one.
Well,
Did
No.
they
the
mass
one
produce
with
it?
I think the one that we got is the mass production type.
Yeah.
The other one from Gieren's Greed, I think, was the big fat one with tiny arms.
And baby arms.
Hold on. Let me see if I can find a picture of it for you. Because I specifically remember it. Let's see here. Sock.
It doesn't look like it's got any kind of like
Gieren's
tech tree stuff going on for it like the other suits.
There's one from Build Fighters as well.
Oh my god.
Let me see if I can.
It says only 3 Zoc units were produced, with one of them serving under Commander Shar during Jaburo.
Ah, this one. Here we go. Okay, let me see if I can like save image as there we go. Alright, so I have it. This is the variant I was talking about. It was like huge. Let me see. God damn it, where is it? I love it when I like save something, I remember what its name is, but then like right when I'm about to like post it somewhere, it's like, where was it? There we go. So this is the other variant of the Zoc, if it'll load.
Let me try to get out of here.
So basically it was like big and wide and it had like really big feet and stuff like that, and it glided around.
Oh wait.
So
It's
it was
the.
a bit more of a proper like hover suit than that
Oh,
is.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was like.
I
It
think
was
it was
kind
in
of
Journey
fat
to
and
Jaburo.
long. Yeah. That's
in
what it
Journey
was.
to
A
Jaburo.
friend of mine was just showing me this here the other day, like
It was
literally
it's
2 days ago.
yeah, that variant is from Gieren's Greed, I believe.
Yeah, it's like the
Or
fat,
what if
the fat, flat, and long one. Yeah.
yeah.
Fat, flat, and long.
Yeah, that one kind of looks weird. I mean, like, wasn't it still just called the Zoc though? In
Yes,
that,
it was
like,
still called the Zoc.
it was just. I'm just like, is it technically the same suit? Just they drew it different.
It was like
It's
a
in tank mode.
like I think it's like a reimagined version. I
Yeah,
think.
yeah,
That's
something
what
like
it
that.
kind of seems like.
But
That's
yeah,
still pretty
But kind of
neat.
the
I wouldn't mind that version.
kind of touch up on the more gameplay aspects of the Zoc though, like because we kind of we touched on it and jumped to the MRS, but the Zoc is I think the Zoc is pretty tricky too, like just with the way like I have a lot of people, I've had a few people in chat say T poses everywhere. It's like
yes,
it's kind of hard to tell when its melee weapons are readied up, so you can
Yeah.
do a lot of
Yeah.
surprise backhands on people.
Yep.
Like I've had like 1v1s versus all sorts of different types of suits, and literally they'll just be like up close to you and you just smack the taste out of their mouth. And you know, for anybody that's already known, the Zoc has the same ability like the Heat Lance, where if you hit somebody with a melee, it just knocks them right to the ground.
Yeah.
Like neutral side, down, it doesn't matter. So you literally just like backhand everybody, and those like side swings are generous. If they're like anywhere in front of or at the side, like behind
Yeah,
your suit, when you do that swing, you're probably gonna knock them down.
and they're
And
pretty
then you just
fast.
yeah, and then you just like proceed to laser them. You give them a couple of lasers to remind them of their place. Like
Seriously though.
usually what I do if I can like space it enough is I'll just like backhand a suit, laser him like and just start backing away from him and just like shoot lasers at him. And if I have enough space, like as they're getting up, I'll just start charging my phonon
Yeah.
master. And
That's probably one of the
even if you
funnest
shoot
games
it,
of chicken to play in that game.
yeah, even if like in like the best part is like with the charge time, like if they rush at you, depending on how far you are, and just like have their melee weapon out because they see you charging, you just counter tackle them, and you literally just like rinse and repeat. It's like counter tackle, laser, back up, charge it again, and if there's enough time for them to get up, you can literally fire early because it fires in a stream. And if they're in that hitbox when their iframes go away, they're going to be put on a knee and taste serious amounts of pain.
Yeah, like
That would
it's
be
crazy.
the one thing I would say to remember is that if you are in a situation where you think you're gonna want to get out, don't lay into that button once it's actually charged because you cannot cancel out of that firing animation.
You can.
Out of the
Just switch
charge you
weapons.
can, but not the actual. Can you actually
you
switch
can.
weapons out of it?
Yeah, just switch weapons. Just like if you're at a full charge in MLRS and need to cancel, I just switch to my main beam rifle and drop the charge and then just reposition.
Ooh,
Hmm.
that's pretty cool. So even while
Yeah.
firing that stream of beam, you're
Mhm.
okay. That's nice.
Yeah, you can just use a hotkey or tap the button. And oh, you mean like while you're firing? I thought you meant
Yeah.
like
While
while
I'm
you're
firing.
charged up.
No, when
Okay,
you're
I got
charging,
you,
you
I got
got
you.
options. Like that's no big
But
deal.
as soon as you let
I
go of
got you.
that
I thought you
trigger,
meant like once you
you're stuck.
I thought you meant like once you have
No.
a full charge,
I'm
but not
talking
actually
about like
fired yet.
mid-stream.
Gotcha.
If you
Okay.
whiffed, or like if you have someone closing in on you, you're like, oh shit. Like just keep in mind that you probably can't move. Now I'm curious, and I'm gonna see if that actually happens. But as far as I know right now, that's not possible.
Yeah, no, you're stuck in it until the animation's done.
Okay.
Sorry, I must have missed the part where you said you actually fired. I thought you were like saying like full charge but not fired yet.
Mm.
Yeah. I will say the one thing, a lot of people will zoom in. You're really slow when the fire's going off, but like if you miss, don't forget to zoom out so that you move a little bit faster
Yeah.
Yeah.
out of zoom with it, so that you like track better. And also the stagger on it is like it repeats as long as they're being hit. So like you know how like in most cases, like take like multi-hitting things where it's like the simplified rocket launcher where 4 rockets go out, and if you hit somebody, like it's stagger animation, but they're still like they're going through the animation, but they're still getting hit by rockets, so they're still taking damage. With the Zoc laser, they'll stay at the starting frame, like whatever frame of the like knockdown to the knee until they exit that hitbox of the laser. So it's not like you connect and then like they start going to the knee. It's more of like you connect and they're like lasers over
and
to
then
the
finally
knee.
Yeah.
So
It's
like
insane.
it's pretty good. They like once they get caught, they can't roll out or anything like that. Like they're stuck until that laser's over.
Managed to catch anybody
And
in
then
a
they have to
tunnel.
recover.
It is you catch I got 3 people like on port base when I was playing on that one, and it was like, oh, like they were over
Being
at
able to pull off
they were at
sweeps with it
C,
is so good.
and the
It
the
feels
enemy
really
team
good
was
to connect.
chasing one dude, and my teammate pulls back, and they just kind of come through, and it's just like 3 guys, boom, and they were just like,
Yeah.
and then my
No,
teammate's
it's
just
super
like
sick.
3 kills right there, right for him. I was like, I will say though,
Feels good, man.
that would be one that you could shoot. I would be fine for getting hit by a teammate in that case, because like the amount of damage, like Piccolo beam me, man. Like let's go. Like
I'm holding Raditz down. Hit me with the special beam cannon.
yeah.
Hit you with that cannon.
Well,
We need
Whatever
to.
it's called in
We
Japanese.
gotta get Mr. King Piccolo a Zoc in that case. So he
Oh
can special
my
beam
gosh,
damage.
yes.
gosh.
Painted in Piccolo colors.
Oh my god.
There we
I
go.
wonder
Out
if
of,
anyone's done that yet.
Oh
out
man.
of curiosity for like the combos, like has anybody like kind of figured out a combo with the Zoc?
I mean,
If you're
Like,
particularly ballsy, you can still do charge shot into some melee, or just keep following up with other beams.
Because here's what I was thinking. So after you would use like the phonon cannon, like couldn't you do like an uncharged shot with the main cannons?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you can follow up.
Yeah.
I know I've done it before. It depends on the range, but I think they're like I'd have to check, but I think it's like 100 range difference, 100 or 50 range difference
Yeah.
between the phonon and the normal megaparticles on the front or whatever.
Okay.
So you can follow up.
Yeah, the
And
phonon
I
beam
feel
is
like
just
it's
insane though.
go ahead.
The phonon beam's just insane. Like it looks like a 2D laser. If you're if you're from the aerial view getting ready to respawn,
Dude, the
and
map
you just
view of
see
the
that
laser is
go on.
awesome.
You just see that it looks like an old school like 2D laser game. Like yeah, dude, pretty legit. But yeah, the damage on it is just absurd. Like I don't know.
And it's funny because you don't think about it compared to like the beam bazookas and stuff or the skier age. It's this huge wash of energy, but it's just a concentrated beam that sweeps across. You don't want it to touch you because you may get melted to death, but
Mm-hmm.
presentation wise, it's kind of interesting.
Here's my question though: is it OP?
Due to the anti-melee like being like pure crap, I would say no.
I mean, it gets bullied once it gets closed in on. You can do some stuff and be a little tricky, especially if you do have your timing for that reversal, the turnaround down pat. But there are people that are willing to like disrespect and just come in on you, and they will have friends if you're trying to get too caught up.
Yeah.
Mid range is pretty good just so that you can follow up a little bit easier, but once you start to get a little too into the thick of it, it can get a little scary.
Yeah.
And you can still ultimately be knocked down. So
I'm kind of looking at it as like how you would play the bishop. You really want to stay as far away as possible because even though this is different from space and ground and everything, but if you get a raid on you, like if you're in a bishop, you're pretty much screwed up. Like you don't have much anti-melee at all whatsoever. So I think it's to balance how much damage you can push out and how much you can receive. It's more, I don't want to say glass cannon like, because
I mean it does have
it still has really good shooting defenses. It's just that the anti-melee is just pure crap.
Yeah, you'll get shredded by like Pixie 02s.
Oh yeah.
Pretty easy.
Well,
especially Pixies like to start eating you for lunch once you get into the thick of it too much.
Mm-hmm.
I actually think that the Zoc excels at all ranges. Like you can play long decently well and it's really powerful up close. You can't take on the entire enemy team,
No.
but like outside of like I think one of the big weaknesses besides the melee priority is the weakness to ballistics. And more the case, like my chat's already been bringing it up, but like Dom barrages,
Yeah.
and just
God,
like
yeah.
guns,
Just consecutive hits.
man, it's tough. Like the armor like might as well not even be there against the machine gun. I mean, that's an extreme case, but like you can definitely get ripped up. But I mean, I personally think like the reason I was doing like the claw things when Maniac said like he thinks it's mainly a long range suit is because I kind of disagree. I think you can play multiple ranges really well, and just the fact that you have instant knockdowns, like the swings, even with like I'd have to check the modifier for the base damage, but like even if it's like really low,
something ridiculous.
yeah, you do really good
hit
damage.
hard
Wait,
baseline.
is it 2,500 or 3,000 base damage for the swing?
I think it's like 2,000 something. Maybe the level 2 is higher.
I think
Hold
it's
on, for the Iron
2,500.
Nail? 2,500 for the
Yeah.
Iron Nail for level 1.
Yeah, like the melee damage is decent, and being able to follow up, like it gets kind of tricky whenever there's like a bunch of people. You really have to like. I think it just comes down to like you have to space yourself. Like you can't get drunk on a power high and be like, haha, I'm the Zoc.
Yeah.
I saw damn bird. No, you gotta start.
Like you have to be able to you have to know like when you need to space and stuff. Like if the whole team's there and they're fighting, I think being like mid to long range is probably fine. You just kind of do support shots, catch the people with the forehead cannon, set up your guys to like follow up on the knee stagger, and if that cheeky raid comes around, you literally just like switch to destroy mode and you slap the taste out of his mouth and knock him on the ground. I'm like I've had like knocks, like I'm not saying like I kill everybody. I've lost in some fights, but like I've had like cheeky campers, weeb-tastic knocks, in like GPO2s. Like I kind of run for GPO2s because they got big scary shields and are really hard to fucking kill.
Mhm.
But like literally you just slap them down, laser them a little bit, and like Maniac, kind of touch up on what you were saying. Like I don't know if you guys know this, but I've been playing Azak a lot because it's awesome. But like literally like my go-to combo, depending on the range, is like if it's super far, I'll just pop shots at him until my big cannon is recharged, and then I'll just like catch whoever I can with the big shot. And that literally at that point, like as long as you are heat managing really well, um the follow-up is essentially the same as like cannon stagger, beam follow-up. You just stagger them with the big laser. And I mean on most suits, like you can, if you're fast enough to swaps, I still mess up getting out of my zoom mode. Like if you're fast enough, you can pop them twice, and I mean on the right suits, that's almost all their HP. I've left people like walking away with like 10% health after getting a full like phone on shot on them into like a 1 to 2 laser hits afterwards. And like I said, knockdown, laser back up, phone on cannon on anybody that tries to push in close. Can be really powerful, even if you don't mix into phone on cannon because you don't think you can pull it off. Just like doing that, countering well, not getting knocked down. Like I think it's pretty simple, like bread and butter kind of stuff, and it's not very hard to pick up and learn just because there's not a lot of stuff to cycle through. But I don't know. I like the Zoc. It's fun to play, and I think the instant knockdown makes it really good in multiple ranges. Again, like if the whole team's focusing you, you're gonna melt like anybody else.
Right.
But I think it covers both, like all ranges very well. And it's almost like the big body is a trade, like the large hitbox is like a trade off for being able to do that.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
I feel like as far as counters go, about the only thing that I found playing as support that counters it really well is, well, which your chat already mentioned, the barrage. Like kind of like what I said there at the beginning.
Heavy
Like
Gundam too.
I do the
Oh yeah.
oh yeah, the heavy's nice as well. Yeah, I don't have that yet. Ticket shop, please come on. Where is he at? But yeah, seriously though, going in with like the mud rock and using that, like I was just like, yep, barrage time, because if as soon as you see him start charging his head laser, throw the missiles at him. Like that's gonna be a stagger. Like or if you see him firing it off, throw the missiles at him. You'll probably cut it short just barely. Like
Mhm.
that's
If they're smart and they're doing the crouch crouch skill that they give the tanks. I can't remember what it's called, but that'll help you out a little bit with that.
well,
Like
if you hit a full barrage.
Shot. Oh yeah, I mean if you catch
Yeah.
them with it, like you'll probably get knocked out regardless. But assuming some stuff misses and you're crouching, you can actually like get the full charge off because the head laser charges really fast and it recovers some cooldown quickly too.
Oh yeah, that's what surprised me about it. I was like, what? Yeah, that's kind of why I'm like, I'm not finding too many ways I can counter it as another support, other than, I mean, essentially barrage. That's been my go-to right now for 450 cost.
Yeah,
And
just a lot of disrespect using a lot of your melee just to try to get in there and fuck around with it. Because otherwise, it actually does have a certain amount of presence, even when it does go down for that phone on. Like, some people will try to outrace it with their stuns, others will try to close in. Some will just be like, no, I'm gonna go somewhere else and just hope that it doesn't hit anybody.
Kudos to the players though. Like I don't know if it's just maybe people are watching streams and seeing people play, because I saw a lot of people running to Zoc, but like literally like the first time I played it, like it was like a mix. But I saw people like shooting me with like the rockets and lasers, but like I feel like literally the next day, most players I would engage with the Zoc were either like if it was an Alex, they would literally switch off a beam rifle and go straight to arm Vulcan or arm Gatling. And like GPOs, like everybody's like switching. Whenever I fight anybody now, they switch to their Vulcans. So it's like they already know that they can't use their normal stun stuff. So
Yeah.
people are definitely picking up on it pretty quick too.
Like, as far as another support, the Jaeger throws out so much damage now. It's actually absurd. And if there's a Zoc in the game, like I've seen Jaegers pulling like in 450 cost, pulling
Okay.
like 160,000 damage for the game. Like on both sides of on both teams and such. Like it's been pretty insane. Like there'd be one Zoc, one Jaeger on both teams, and just like the Jaegers are just destroying the Zocs in damage. So it's I don't Jaeger's secret OP right now.
Well, it
They
also
have the right Zoc
depends.
players.
Well, and then also, you also have to realize that the Jaeger has more equipment to use to dish out more damage.
And it's all
Because-
consecutive hits, which is pretty
Yeah.
much the Zoc's kryptonite right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, you got the three beam, and that staggers most people normally. I think is it still you got to hit like I mean by the time
Like
you
two
overheat it,
volleys of it, like,
and then you got the pistol
volley, you got him.
or the arm beam cannon that it
Spotter,
has,
yeah.
Arm
the
beam
spotter,
thing,
yeah,
yeah.
the spot gun. Like you pull that out and you're just like pew 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 pew, and then you just manage your heat well on the Jaeger right now, and you're as long as you're hitting stuff, you're throwing out mad DPS, dude.
Not to
Like
mention you got Vulcans for days on that thing.
yeah, well, and then that's any downtime you have, you're just like okay, I'm gonna Vulcan for the next 10 minutes. Like it's
No, any
ridiculous.
downtime you have, you should spin in the hangar.
Well played.
Sorry, keep going.
But yeah, like the Vulcans it has on it, like the damage on the Jaeger is just pretty obscene right now. Like with that change to its main weapon it's been pretty nice, and that distance increase by 50 on the spot gun has been pretty legit.
Oh yeah.
So
for I'm sorry, for the Zoc with its low ballistic defense, so couldn't a Pixie just go up to it with its submachine guns and just lay into it?
I mean,
I think it'd
by
be
the
better
time they
off
close in, they already
takes it with
slice
those
you
daggers.
into pieces.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're running a double SMG, like you're already close enough to use your daggers
Well,
anyway, because
yeah.
they're pretty much at the same range.
yeah,
But nobody actually runs that gun because it's awful.
Yeah.
But like if you got like the bullpup, I mean, you could shoot it from a distance. But I mean, it has anti-stealth, so I guess if they're paying attention, they see you coming anyway. So I mean, at that point, I think you're better off like maybe setting up a mini stagger with the machine gun and then just cutting them to pieces with your daggers instead. But I don't think the Pixie has enough. I think the Zoc, if you were just having a shootout, the Zoc would probably shoot out the Pixie before it could kill it if it was just using its machine gun. Oh, if you mix grenades in during reloads, it might be
That's
a
true
little tricky.
because this got some good
Yeah.
upload.
Yeah, the Zoc has anti-stealth and anti-jamming.
yeah,
So it could
it's
find a
insane.
knocked.
You can
So,
you can
yeah,
disperse murderous intent.
Yeah, like that's what I'm saying. Like the Zoc has everything that you kind of need and want in a support.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I mean, about the only thing you can do is just outrange it with other supports to
Oh yeah.
damage it, and that's or use the barrage to
Just-
stagger it. I don't know. I feel
Intensify that barrage and overwhelm them.
yeah, like
It's kind of hard to out range the supports. Like the Zommel, you have to get in close. Like the Zommel outranges the Zoc pretty hard. You can outrange Unit 5. Like you can shoot the Unit 5
Yeah, that's true.
out of
with the
its
beam.
Gatling range, with both beams, which is pretty cool.
that's kind of insane. But I don't know. I just feel like the Motorrock and the full armor are, as far as going up against the Zoc now, it's just like oof. Because those were two of my go-tos. But
Hey, at least it has a huge target for its missile barf now.
I mean, that's there you go.
Just close in and bully the
There you go.
shit
You
out
can
of
you
it
can
with
actually
those
stagger the
fire
Zoc.
Lay into it with the beam guns. Finally, those will have something to stagger with those consecutive hits too.
Yeah.
Like it's got options. It just has to be ballsy enough to close in and just hope it doesn't get wiped by either of those beams.
Yeah, and then the
Yeah,
backhanded.
just get the smack.
Yep.
But
Like it just
Smack it
walks it through all that fire. Like,
Smack it down, everybody.
yeah, I
Gunner
really
Knox
want the
walks
Zoc.
up, Christina, little Grandpa Gundam comes up, Amuro, just like just smack everybody.
Yeah, start getting that
Gato,
hyper hammer
Gato
in
wants
the
to roll up, and you're about to become the Nightmare of Solomon all over the side of his head. Backhand everybody.
But yeah, the Zoc is insane. Like, I really want it.
I love this suit. Like,
Oh,
I'm glad I was memeing so hard. Just full disclosure for everybody who didn't know already, I bought 200 token packs that night to get that Zoc, and
Yeah.
I don't regret it because I love the suit. Like, I think it's a ton of fun, super cool.
It's also for context, but it just helps that it's an amazing suit.
Mm-hmm.
See, this is why I started deploying more bombs and hope the Zoc goes to defuse. And then I'm just like, okay, you can defuse that. I'm taking your suit. See ya. I don't care about destroying
See,
the.
this skyscraper shows up at the base to stop the army. You're just like, whoop, get it inside.
Like, oh, this is. I wonder how quick a Zoc could destroy a base.
I haven't. Oh, see, I meant to try.
I've had a good chance to try.
You'd have to have a couple doing it, like the
Yeah,
output
like,
that it's got. It's a
I
little
wonder if you just
slow
go
on
in a
it by
team.
itself.
Team of Zocs.
Yeah,
just
team
go
of
up to
Zocs
a
just go up to a
base.
base. Fire
Let's see if
laser.
they can make it.
Yeah, it probably doesn't have the solo potential of the like. You can probably do a lot of damage. Like, I still think like a Xeon could probably kill a base faster than a Zoc can.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
That thing's nuts, by the way.
Oh yeah.
I still
It's
want
crazy.
that.
I really
fucking
like
thing.
the
Oh my
Xeon
god.
too.
How quick?
Like,
How
sorry
quick
to
do
bring
we?
it back.
Xeon's amazing though. I want to mess with that so bad.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Talking about
even
that
my
one game
time
where I was
Yeah.
the Xeon and we like killed the base within the last
Yeah, I was
10
like-
seconds of the match. It was a lot of stuff. Like the Xeon, I really like the Xeon too.
Like,
Like, I don't know what it is
enjoy
about
this
those like straight laser suits.
Zako, but like that would be the next level. Rocking the Xeon.
Well, I think the Xeon is honestly like all the strong points of both suits, and it's even better. Like, I like what's it called? Psychemy weapons, like the wire guided bits and
Yep.
stuff, or hands, whatever. Like, it was just kind of like a gimmick on the other suits because you couldn't do anything while I was out, and the damage potential was real shaky at best. But like the Xeon feels so much better with it, and actually being able to do something while it's out is so powerful.
yeah.
Like, it's so
Oh,
good.
Yeah. And
Whether you're just doing like the 3-shot
big
to a
thing.
chest charge, or just shooting the head laser, like, it's so nice. I like it a lot. It's so nice.
And you can combo so smooth. It's smooth as butter to combo back and
Mhm.
forth. And like the 3-shot pretty
Oh,
much
yeah.
never overheats. So you've always got that to go back to. I've been using a lot of the
Yeah.
rear. Make sure to use the rear on cooldown is one thing I've learned, because it's like the ASL is like this big, and then the 3-shot is like, and I was like, oh, okay.
They all lock on fast,
Yeah.
and the rear one shoots really quickly too.
Oh,
Like, that's probably
yeah.
my favorite part about it.
And it staggers. So you're like,
Mhm.
you're like 3-shot. They come back. You go for the rear hits, and then you head cannon them 2 or 3 times, and then do like the side again, and then charge up your chest laser or whatever. And then my favorite, the flying punch through space.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you just like, the downswing on the thing is so dumb. Like, but you go so far though.
I still think they need to give one of those suits a rocket punch, but
Yes,
That'd be
please.
nice.
What
How
I find nice
the
about
counter work?
what I find nice about the Xeon is that that it actually has enhanced tackle 3, and it also has a double dodge roll, and I find that very useful in certain circumstances.
it helps. It's a chunky boy.
Speaking of
It'd be
dodge
kind of
rolls,
absurd if it didn't have enhanced tackle with how big it is.
oh yeah, like it is definitely definitely pretty thick with like 3 Cs.
Does the Zoc have enhanced tackle? Just kind of talking about size in that regard, because that's I was kind of wondering, like, when he says like, I don't know what justifies the enhanced tackle, but I mean, bulk makes a lot of sense. You just like slam a giant mobile suit into a small one.
This is fucking huge,
I can
dude.
get that. Because I mean, usually it's like spikes on shields or
That being said, does the
Zaku's
Zoc
shoulders,
have
but
it?
that makes sense too. I mean, like, it makes sense with the Zoc. You hammer into him with that beak, man. Gah!
We need an
Zoc-
untitled Zoc
Counter Zoc
game.
animation is like a punch or something, but I'd be okay if it just literally like pecks him with the beak, man. It's like the Zoc is like leaning back and just
Just like
juts
thrust
the,
it into it.
juts the beak into like the mobile suit. Like that'd be pretty legit too. Can we have alternate combo or counter animations in the video game? Or maybe there's just a secret. Like we should ask the people that paint their Zocs like ducks.
Yeah.
Like maybe if you paint it a certain way, you unlock alternate like melee counters. I
Oh
gotta
my
try.
gosh, yes,
we still need
please.
Like a
untitled
mallard.
Zoc memes.
Oh
Paint
man.
it like a mallard. Yeah, just have like a green head, just a yellow beak.
Saw a penguin looking one. That was kind of funny.
Oh, that's
That's
kinda
pretty
good.
legit too.
I like that.
Oh yeah,
Um,
I think somebody actually used oh
What was
gosh,
it,
whatever her name was from Build Fighters or Build Divers, whoever had like the penguin colored Kapool. I think somebody used that color scheme on their Zoc.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
the oh yeah, the Xeon. One thing that I had in a game, I was playing it, and I'm like, okay, I'm the ace. Somehow I got ace. I'm having. It's one of those. It's one of those games. It's like, oh man, I'm having a horrible game. I'm doing awful. You're the ace. What?
But why though?
That happens every now and then.
And then it's like, then I'm like, okay, cool, time to. Let's put my carry pants on. Let's go. Let's try this. And there was a GPO1 FB that was right in front of me with like 2 health. All I had to do was like hit it once, and it goes backdash, dodge roll, 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 and I'm like, what in the world? So I haven't got to
Overboost?
test it because I have it. Does it? Is that it? The overboost?
That's overboost.
Yes,
Yeah.
that is
Oh my!
overboost.
What in the
That is
world,
overboost.
dude? That is.
Overboost is fucking
Overboost.
amazing.
So for those who don't know what overboost skill does, overboost takes once you hit max capacity of your thrusters, if you're on the default control layout, if you hit boost again, so like your X button or whatever, it'll engage into overboost. And you'll have, I believe, 10 seconds of infinite boost. Once that goes out, your thrusters go kaput for about, 3 minutes recovery? Not 3
You
minutes.
take like a hard
15
scan
Yeah,
out of
it's
it too, or
it's a
something like that.
huge amount of recovery time.
like a 15 seconds of recovery time or something like that, which is a huge chunk of time. So you have to be very careful about how you're using your overboost. When I learned
Overly
that,
cooldown.
yeah. When I learned about how the FB actually had overboost, I'm like, oh boy, everybody's gonna dodge roll everywhere.
Yeah, I didn't think about that because I have the was it Agzaku Commander, and it doesn't have a dodge roll, does it?
No,
No,
it has
Yeah, I was gonna
maneuver
say.
armor.
All day.
It has maneuver armor and forced injectors.
But
So it
you
just
could
scoots all over the place
tackle all day
crazy.
though. Is that how that works?
Oh
too?
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yep.
yeah.
Okay,
You can
well,
boost, tackle, boost.
I found my
boost,
new
tackle,
raid.
tackle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I want
Yeah.
that. That is literally
Yeah,
the get
soccer's
up in that
amazing.
ass.
Yeah, like I just
I need that in my life as someone who's like pretty garbage of typical raids.
there we
If
go.
I'm gonna go in with reckless abandon, I might as well be doing it really fast.
Oh yeah.
And I find using the Maricide beam rifle very useful with it. But of course, that's still in the lotto, so you would have to use a Zaku bazooka instead, which feels
Yeah.
weird.
The Marisite beam rifle. What are you talking about? It's the Agzaku BR. Come on.
Oh
man.
yeah, I'm
What's
sorry.
a Maris?
What's a
like video
Marisite?
game.
Wow.
Actually.
Oh no, we're that podcast.
Oh no.
I know. Well, actually, the game refers to a boost as evasive maneuvers on some text. You know.
Dodge roll is evasive maneuver controller.
Oh my god, I actually like did
Emergency evasion.
I did a tweet over to Bamco when they were talking about GBO2 recently, asking about like having an English site or some sort of correspondence for the game. Someone followed up and fucking lambasted them for the translation and stuff as if they were doing it. I was like, nah, bro, that's not quite how this works, but okay. Go off. Get on with your bad self.
Oh my.
Yeah, we just need a support staff. The language translation is good enough. At least it exists.
Yeah.
Yeah, I honestly think they brought in their SRW to make that translation because it was very similar to like how Mooners was trained.
Oh,
I'm sure it's similar
you
people.
cut out for me on that one.
Oh, when GBO2 was originally translated, I'm pretty sure they brought in their Moon Dwellers translation team because that was translated in Japan but released in Singapore. If that makes any sense.
Maniac is talking about a Super Robot Wars game, by the way. For anybody who doesn't know what Moon Dwellers is.
Oh my. Yeah, I should probably be specifying all of what I'm saying.
No, it's not. It's not a well. Actually, it's a clarifying note.
Oh.
Some people might not like. Some people might play. What's a Moon Dwellers?
What's a Moon Dwellers?
The moon peoples.
The people who dwell in the moon. I mean,
Were their names Google and Translate for the translation team?
Yeah, that sounds.
Okay, now we have the cancer
know.
cannon.
They have a team though. Like I've actually heard. I've heard on like other forums and discords of people who actually know people who worked on the translation, like for those games.
I know.
And, like a really good example is, you know how in Super Robot Wars T, they call the Mecha Beast Kikaiju. Apparently, like people in the translation team really wanted to just call him Mecha Beast, but they insisted that they call him Kikaiju. So just kind of like a touch on the thing. That they do have people work on the team who are familiar with localizations, but some of the stuff may just be weird. Like for instance, going back to Battle Op, I was in chat and someone was talking about how like whenever like when you pick your suit that you want to play, it says register sortie, or whatever. I thought it was like kind of weird. Yeah, it was your stream, Magnum. You're absolutely right. Like I think they should name it better too. But apparently there are other, like, I think the same person in chat said like there are like other anime where like they like get subbed and they say register sortie or like games or something like that, and it's like that's so weirdly, that's phrased so strangely to me. But I don't know, there could be like back end like push to have it translated in a particular way or something like that. That might be why some of it's weird. Like maybe Mad Rock is a good example of it or something like that.
Yeah.
I'm kind of curious about that though. Like I didn't really think too much of it either when when that was mentioned, the registered story thing. I was just like, okay, cool, makes sense to me. Like, but like I don't know if that comes from like
I've really adjusted Mudrock. Just to Mudrock now instead of Mad Rock. I didn't even notice.
Yeah, we're back to Mudrock.
It's
but
also
like
just the idea, like anyone who's had to deal with old subs in like JRPGs or anything like that as well. People that are more used to that, you just kind of glaze over it.
Yeah,
like,
exactly. That's why I'm just like
straight up, like not even remotely weebish at all. Just looking at this, like it's not even semantics. They just never seen shit like that before. I was like, what the actual fuck does any of this actually mean?
Yeah.
Especially when you're starting to go into training and these have the same kind of translations going on too.
Yeah, that's where it kind of gets a little bit of oof, because.
What were you saying though, Magnum? A second ago?
Well, I mean, it was just like going from like subs. I was gonna say the same thing that Gustav said, pretty much going from like
gotcha.
subs and just doing all those translations, or even like talking to other people, that English isn't their primary language. Like, I know I've mentioned EVE Online before, like that. You've got people from Romania, you got people from Germany, you got people from Russia, you got 10 different languages in one chat, and you have to figure out the three words that make sense to everybody all at the same time. And it's like,
I feel ya.
Yeah, you just pick two words that make sense, and as long which is kind of the thing too.
Yeah.
That's what a friend told me. Like if you go to Japan, like just instead of like saying a full phrase, pick like two of the most important words, and that'll normally get you to where you're going. Because
so like I want something to eat, like want food.
Yeah, well, instead of I want food, they think literally you're saying one whole word. I want food. Like just
Yeah, I
cram it
want
together.
food or something like that.
Yeah.
Right.
And if you say it without space or whatever, they think it's just one word. If you kind of say it too
You're
quickly
not
like
familiar
that.
with the language, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
No, I
So
get you.
so yeah, want food would literally be probably the best way to like or where is food instead of saying like where is food, they would be like, was that one word? What did he say? You know, if you say
Mhm.
where food, then they might actually they'll point in the right direction kind of thing. So, but yeah, that was his
So maybe
first
in the
trip to
dub
Japan.
of Eva, Gindo should have just said use robot. He would have got it a little bit better.
Get in the robot.
That's how they always talk about how like dubbing over those are so hard because you're having to do this in the confines of like what frames you have, unless you actually have scenes that you can like hash that out with.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, Mega Nerd.
Well,
Oh,
and
that's
these days they
good.
actually do it a bit more.
Wait,
Where
what?
before,
Oh my gosh, Mega Nerd, you're great.
oh my gosh, I just clicked over to see that. Yep.
Spoilers.
Yeah, spoiler alert, man.
Let's see.
But anyway,
Okay.
space though. Space. Time and
Space.
space. Space.
Nobody plays it. It was good talking to you guys.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, there we go.
Great hustle.
So what exactly all like happened when I feel like nobody really knows how to play in space from what I've realized. I mean,
Shit,
like
I
we
still
do.
don't.
I was gonna say like
Like
I mean,
nobody.
there's a difference between not knowing and not having the enthusiasm to bother.
that is
Right.
true.
I think more of like I guess I should probably focus on more of the people that want to actually try space don't know how to properly try space, if that makes sense. Or play in it. I guess, and then also it doesn't help that the control scheme is very different compared to ground because because if you go up and down, that'll be, what buttons were those? Going up and down, that'd be R1 and 2. Not R1 and 2, L1
No,
and
it's
2.
L1.
L1 and 2.
Yeah, that's what I meant. L1 and 2 is going up and down. And I don't think anybody that now let me try to rephrase.
There's also directional movement now, so yeah. So
Yeah.
how's it
Which
directional up and down?
one thing they
Yeah.
did is actually put in the tutorial how to stop and how to about face, which actually the about face thing does.
Yes,
Yeah.
that should
Like the thing
be,
is, I accidentally
Yeah.
did that and was like, oh, so this is some little maneuver things we can actually do. Why don't they have this in a tutorial? 1 week later,
Well,
oh,
guess
it's
what?
in a tutorial. Okay.
Yay!
So
Mhm.
like,
And that's different now too. Like the about face thing, it's not just a 180 turn. You can actually, if you do the stop movement and move the right stick, it'll move your mobile suit.
Which way you're facing with the
Right,
stick.
just
yeah.
up to a certain amount of time, like in whatever direction.
Oh yeah,
you're
the
moving it
turn
towards.
speed is just like insane when you do that too. Yeah. Like
Mhm.
I try to stop and then do precise aiming sometimes, and man, I need more tension on the controller. Just saying.
Oh, they were talking about that for the PS5 controller. You're actually gonna have variable tensions,
Yeah, that's
Oh, so like every normal
Yeah.
controller would be a pro style controller.
essentially.
yeah. Like
Yeah.
But they were
I
talking
really
about it
thought about making
primarily
my
for
own.
the trigger. So I don't know if you're
Oh,
gonna have that for the sticks. That's the other
Mhm.
thing.
I would
Now
like it
they
for the
also have some
sticks.
that are more modular. Those are like third party though. You can
yeah.
actually switch all that shit up.
Well, that's what I was gonna think. I was thinking about now that I've been playing this a little bit. If I really get into it and I get some extra money, I'm probably gonna because
Get,
I
like,
built
dedicated.
my own controller back when I was playing like 360 and stuff. So I'm probably gonna do that again with the PlayStation controller just because it's like I cannot stand the like man I'm gonna break this thing like
Yeah. I mean, I got a death grip on it as it is, trying to like move around, especially in space, doing a lot
Oh,
of the
yeah.
directional boosts and all that.
Mhm.
We're
But
talking
yeah.
about controllers. Let's show them off. I got the Hakushiki.
Oh my
PlayStation.
See, I got a regular boy. Mine's boring. That's hype though.
Oh, nice. I
It's
have
resistant to beams.
this controller. Oh whoops! This controller It's red. Could it be
It's
I-
3
I-
times faster.
the red comet? But yeah, seriously though, the space just has so many extra things that you can do. And my biggest issue, I think, with space is that it needs separate balancing over ground.
Mhm.
And my biggest example of this is the Dom Barrage, around
Okay.
450 and stuff. When you start getting into the faster stuff, so they just upped the missile speed of the Dom Barrage, which is awesome in ground. You now can just stun beam and then go to the thing and be like, your legs are about gone. And if I hit you again, you will not walk. You know, like you just completely leg people with like 2 combos of that.
And this is a
And
ground scenario,
and this
right?
is ground, yeah. So in space, you're like, I hit you with the beam. Now I'm gonna fire my missiles for the combo. Oh, you've moved. So if I don't pick the direction you're gonna move in, because now you have a circle of directions rather than left or right, but since I'm on ground, I'm going to hit you if you're moving left or right. Whoops.
We're talking about the Dom Barrage legging people and stuff. I don't know if you heard my follow-up question, because I think I'd asked just before you disconnected, you're talking about a ground scenario.
Yeah,
with
yeah.
this,
Ground
right?
scenario. Okay, so if you guys didn't hear that, the ground scenario, um, so pretty much, yeah, you beam somebody, you can leg them. Of course, this is kind of a distance thing too, but when you're close enough, you pretty much at optimal range to get this combo off. You hit them, you shoot them in the legs. You normally get most of your missiles, and you know they're gonna go left or right, right? And that's it. There's there are only 2 options. So you aim for the center, or you pick sort of one way or the other. And if they try to dodge one way, you know you're gonna hit more missiles. But the
Mhm.
thing is, in space, you have a circle of directions that they can go. And if they move up or down, you know, you're pretty much now firing at the middle of them is where you're going to want to fire to get the most optimal. But the best they can do is just left or right. And a lot of things are really fast in space. So by the time the missiles get there, you have to be like right up on them, which you don't want to do against a lot of suits, especially when a raid's coming at you. So your defense against raids just kind of drops in space. And
Mhm.
I feel like the missiles would need a bit more speed. So like even at an average situation, you hit like four missiles on somebody's legs if they're say you go into a 550 game, right? And you're playing the Dom Barrage 500 cost. Then you get 4 missiles on something like a GPO1 that's moving side to side. In space, you go up against the GPO1 FB, you hit like 1 or 2 missiles most of the time in the same distance scenario, is my point. So like I feel
Mhm.
like a lot of things would have to have its own kind of separate balancing when it comes to space and ground kind of thing, which I don't think they're at that point yet that they could do that, but I feel like
That is
that's one of
interesting
space's
because they are
problems.
different clients too,
But this would be different configurations, even just for
different
like.
game types.
Yeah. So I don't know if they can do that with their setup, but if they somehow can, then I really think that's what they need to do, because it's you can fill that with a lot of different suits, like the especially missile suits, for instance. Um, what's another one? I'm trying to think of another one off the top of my head, but yeah, the Barrage is my biggest example that I've seen recently. And again, it's
Mhm.
more that higher cost kind of thing. Like you can tell the Xeon has been balanced for space because it's space only.
Space only.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a lot of the space only suits feel really good in space, but a lot of the ground
Plus, the
and
king
space,
after the movement changes, which helped too.
and
Because the
yeah,
Barrage had a little bit of an advantage when people were still figuring that out. You know, the fact that it could actually go directionally up, have you hit like L1 or L2, and move a little bit faster on top of the boosting. And that was nice. But once people got more acclimated to that form of movement, that all went out the window again.
Magnum, can I ask you this real quick? I know like in-game stuff like this shouldn't really impact a suit's performance as much in different game styles, but does the Dom Barrage have ground specialization?
hmm? What's
You know what I'm talking about.
no,
Does
no,
it have
no.
ground specialization?
Let me double check.
I actually don't know what you're talking about there on that one.
Hold on.
Well,
This-
you know
this
how
is
like
news.
when you're in the
No.
GndmManiac? It does not.
No, Dom Barrage is equal.
You know
It
how like
has
when you're in
no
the Hangar
specialization.
and you have the little stat box open and you hit
Yeah.
L2 and it switches to the, let's say, the other side
Oh
of the
yeah,
card.
yeah. Then it has the G and the S there in that little
Mhm.
tiny square.
Mhm.
Right.
Ah, okay. That's what
But
that is. I didn't know what that is.
the main thing I was if you're on that menu, like in the thing, you hit the pad button, it'll tell you what, like, the on the very last tab, it tells you what the specializations give you, except for space. It doesn't tell you everything space gives you. Space is like 2 things and more, and ground tells you like increased turn radius and stuff like that. But yeah, I actually have on my JP account, I have my suits broken down into like just general stuff, like the normal list suits I like to play, and then ground and space specialized suits,
Ah,
just so I can access some of it easier if I want to. But what
now
I
I
was
want
getting
more
at there is
tags.
like, maybe if maybe if they maybe if it's like supposed to be a ground oriented suit, then maybe it was intentional. But that's kind of why I let it, like, I don't think like just a little specialization thing like that should really impact its balance between like a different game type,
Yeah.
essentially, like that. But I, maybe that's the idea, is like it's a land focused suit that can
Yeah,
also
so
happen to deploy in space.
it's just a
Yeah.
neutral.
And
The Dom Barrage is a variant of the Dom Fumph, and the Dom Fumph was
Gesundheit.
is
Yeah.
Now I'm curious.
is a ground oriented Dom.
How do you spell FUMF?
FUNF. Fumph. The Dom Fumph
I gotta see this
is
thing now.
It's fun with an extra F.
I believe it literally means 5 in eins, zwei, drei, vier, fünf. Yeah, 5 in German.
Yeah.
And what's funny is that a character who is German actually pilots that thing too in Zionic Front. So anyway, the Dom Fumph is a big boy.
Yeah, it looks quite a bit like it.
And so essentially we do have the Dom Fumph, but it's just in the variant of the Barrage.
Yeah, because it's got the scattering beam on it. Kind of a shame that it doesn't retain the saber, but like it's a support suit. The 3-2 missile launcher switched out for the missile array, essentially.
Is it just taller? Like the pictures I'm looking at.
Yeah, it looks
There's a
pretty
couple
big.
of them. There's one where it looks just like a normal Dom, and then there's another one where it actually looks
gonna say.
different. But I don't know if it's like a customizable one or what. Because there's the one that's like literally in the Gelgoog. Like,
It
it's
looks like a
Gelgoog
Doge
esque
like
colors.
lower down.
And like it honestly, I look at it as like it looks like a normal Dom to me. Then there's the other one that looks like a hybrid between like the Dom Tropin and the Ifrit Noct or something.
So
You
yeah,
know?
the variant that
Okay.
it has is the Barrage, and the Barrage is just fat. It's just got the skirts altered. It's got more boosters on the back of it. It's got plating up front. The shoulders are massive compared to it. It's just almost like a full armor Fumph.
Yeah, that's essentially what the Barrage is a full armor.
Also found a pretty sick picture of a GPO Rick Diaz, GPO2 Rick Diaz. It's very interesting.
But yeah, that's one of my biggest concerns about space. But now that I'm kind of curious to look at some suits now, because I really didn't know there was that specialization thing. That's a new stat I wasn't aware of. That's pretty cool.
It's on a lot of suits,
Yeah.
and
It's
it can
something to
make,
keep
and
in
honestly,
mind.
like makes or breaks certain suits too. Like there's some like Gustav or Maniac. I think the R2 has space specialization, right?
With the Hymo?
The Hymo R2. Sorry,
Both
late,
Hymos.
late production
Both
Zaku
Hymos.
Fast number 30.
Late production, I think it's space.
No,
Yeah.
early and late are both space specialized because they were both built for space.
That makes
The
sense.
Hymo ground is specialized for ground.
Okay, yeah, because like there's like because you can use it with the stuff on the ground, but it gets a lot more deadly in space because you get access to balancer, for instance.
Yes.
Yeah,
Like
that's
space
kind of interesting.
specialization gives the suit balancer. So like
Oh, I
I
am
think the
wrong.
full.
The
I
normal high
think
mode
maybe the
does
full armor
not.
may have it by default, but
Yeah,
like
it doesn't.
if you had the full armor, it didn't
Oh, wow.
default with balancer. You have it in space.
I
Would
don't
be a
know
good
why they
example.
did it that way because it is very space oriented. So you think
The
it
high
would, but
mode
no,
should have
just the
been
late.
space oriented. I don't know why it's not. That's very
I can't remember which one. There's one of the Zaku's that has space orientation, but you can use
It's
it
the
on
I
late
mean, it is
model.
the late.
I
Late
was gonna
model.
say
It's
that
weird
it
that-
should be the late. It's kind of interesting though because
Late
that's the one
model.
that I kind of went to for space because I'm like, you know what,
Mhm.
this just I can use this. You know what, let's try it. Wow, this feels a whole lot better. I'm gonna use this. So
Does the wiki that they're running actually have stuff for the
It should
priority or
break down
whatever?
the preference. I know it mentions it. Google Translate might just make it weird, but it should be there. But yeah, thruster consumption rate is a big thing too. Like specialized suits have reduced thruster consumption as well
Yeah.
on both ground and space. I'm pretty sure. I know space for sure, but I'm pretty sure it's also on ground.
Now, let me
But
take a
I
look
think
at
maybe
the-
ground just turn radius speed increase or both. I can't remember. It's so weird. The tooltip's so like awkward and not very informative in some cases.
Yeah, and that's
yeah.
stuff you're not gonna get in training either. You just kind of have to figure it out from something else.
Hidden
I'm-
stats.
Hymo Gelgoog is space oriented. That's what it
Mhm.
was.
Ah, that's so many fucking Gelgoogs. That, oh my god.
not enough Gians.
Gelgoog operation.
Well, if the Gian was mass produced, it would have been you.
I
you know.
do kind of hope that they delve into that just for shits.
I
At
would
the
love
very
like to
least,
see
give
the,
it a regular
Gian
ass shield.
cannon. I would like to see the Gian cannon and the. I mean, technically, the
I mean, we
Gian
have the
EOS
G-line
is
assault,
yeah. We do have.
so
Well,
it's
we're
a lot of stuff that
missing.
you could do. You wouldn't even have to change
We're
typing.
Amazing
We're
suit, by the way.
Really
Yeah.
fun.
Oh yeah.
we're missing like 4 or 5 G line variants.
I want to
still.
support one.
Yeah, it does kind of suck. The supports haven't gotten the G line yet, have they? It was supposed to be. The
I'm-
assault feels bad, man.
I was surprised that the standard armor didn't fall into a support category.
That would
with
have been
its,
cool.
That'd have been
Gatling
pretty cool.
That's another one for the Zoc to try to boss up with.
Sorry, support stars don't
those
get nice
Gatling
things.
busters.
I
They really don't.
will
Someone
say,
told
That's
me to
why the Zoc
550.
is so lauded right now.
yeah, pretty much.
Because like not only is it a good support suit, but it's just a weird standard for suits right now. It sets kind of a weird
yeah,
precedence for what's allowable.
on
And
the
it's
G
also
line.
puntastic. Zoctober.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh, yes,
Yeah.
please.
It's true.
Man, I gotta get it now. I have to get it now. I've got like 2 more spins.
Tomorrow's the last chance.
Yeah, I know. I got like I think I got like 6 tokens right now.
Now
and
we
then-
just need to get the GOG.
So I got 4
Yeah, I'm
spins.
waiting.
4 spins tomorrow.
The GOG, from what I understand, it's supposed to have super armor.
I wonder if it's going to be actually on
Supposed to.
GOG Day this time because of
No, I'm
the
pretty
explosion
sure it
of it not
won't.
happening last time.
That'd
I'm
be
pretty
nice.
sure it won't.
I mean,
I don't.
I
think
kinda
they'll be-
wanted-
They should make it the limited Halloween suit. That'd be nice.
I'm actually glad you brought that up, Gustav. I was thinking like we might see it for Halloween as something, but I think it'd be either Obviously, there's only three. There's only a few options. So like event suit, pun day release,
Right.
banner thing, or
Secret
just
suit.
like secret suit or something. But I hope we would either see it in October or back on the next GOG day for sure.
Mhm.
Was GOG Day on October?
No,
no.
I can't remember exactly when it was.
That was like
thought-
but
springish,
it was
wasn't
not
it?
October.
Yeah, it's somewhere in
I thought
spring.
GOG Day was like in like May.
Yeah, I was thinking
Yeah,
May
that's what I'm
somewhere.
saying. Like, I thought it was like more related to Easter, but I forgot it was just a pun day thing.
Yeah. But
They were just
I
kind of doing it for jokes because of Easter eggs.
if they just
Yeah.
come out like with it randomly though, it's going to be kind of I feel like they're going to get
I mean, I'll
backlash
still
for
be
that.
happy, it'll
I
be
mean, yeah,
fun.
yeah, but it would just be like, why? Why now?
Like, yeah,
why?
people are gonna be like, why didn't you release it on GOG
So
Day?
actually, yeah, talking about that though, when we talk about like banners and progression in suits. We've gone a little bit backwards with the Zoc, despite it being pretty hype
Yeah.
in terms of its timeline stuff.
Um,
So we're on the precipice of either going into the in-between shit, which would be advanced and like the Hazel and all this other goofy shit, or just straight up going to Zeta if we are going to advance the timeline. So are we just going to be okay with doing more MSV stuff? Are we going to start reaching into things that are kind of mobile armors but not really, like the Zachrello? Like, what do you guys think we're going to be doing going forward?
I honestly think they may end up start pulling things from the old GBO game at this point.
maybe.
I honestly think they're going to transfer stuff over.
Like just a big wrap up for it.
Probably. Like they'll probably end up. Now this is what I would like, but the idea of it and actually happening are two completely different things.
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna do anything like that personally.
I would personally like at least 10 different suits from the previous game just dropped in, like either in the ticket shop or in the DP.
Shadow
Just
to say that they were just put in.
they're gonna stagger those boys out, but
Yeah, that'd be
I
shadow
could
suits
see that.
probably.
I could see them doing that at the later run of, like at the tail end of the game's like life cycle. I could see them doing something like that.
And just
Just like,
barfing
you
them
know-
out, like, oh, by the way,
Well,
these guys
you know,
that
like
you're
when
wondering.
you know when they just like really start catering to the players because like they know the game's life is almost over, so they start just doing like cool stuff. Like
Just
I
willy-nilly
could see,
bullshit.
yeah, I could see like that maybe being like at the end of the game's like life cycle, like maybe before GPO or GBO3, or something like that. Like I can see that happening. Also, apparently GOG Day is in May, according to chat.
Okay.
There we go. So yeah, as far as space goes though, yeah, I think balancing suits a little bit more for it is a good thing, but I don't think we're gonna get full balancing for it.
Yeah.
But
It would be too specific, but it would be really nice for some of those suits.
one of the other things with space is the maps right now, and
I would like to see another space interior, like an interior map again. That I think that would be a good idea to get in.
I know a lot of people are kind of scoffing at it right now, but I do enjoy that map. I
yeah,
would like some more variety. I would like them to open up those lobbies a little bit more and give the other two maps a shot. But
yes,
this
please.
interior does have an interesting dynamic to it.
Ooh, Mecha Nerd brought up something
Yeah,
interesting.
colony interior.
Yeah, colony interior.
Yeah,
I
that'd
think
be
a
pretty
moon
cool.
surface map.
The bigger thing with that
would
is, would it be like
cool.
low gravity or would it just be straight up space? That'd be kind of cool.
I would like it to be like a destroyed colony.
Yeah, like
yeah, I was about to say
Yeah.
it'd probably be a destroyed colony if it's the true space type.
That'd be cool.
But no, I mean, I think
Like
a lunar surface
Thunderbolt.
hybrid map would be it's
Oh
like
yeah.
almost it's like ground like, but maybe it's just low G instead.
Yeah.
But like fighting a Von Braun would be really cool.
Yeah.
Which that's kind of what I was getting at, like some kind of low G or again, water map. Kind of getting into that. Just touch on that again. Someone in chat brought up a thing about having like a core fighter. I think that would be legit. Like, we got the ball. Like instead of the ball, we just got a core fighter to fly around. Yes, please.
That'd be interesting for suits like the Gundam. So like maybe like because like I know people played around the Zeong having the head deploy as a unit. Maybe if they added like a after your suit gets destroyed, like if you're at a Gundam, you turn it like your suit destroys and you turn to the core fighter. Or if you're a Zeong, the head breaks off and you fly around at that. And like you destroy the mobile suit, you get the mobile suit points, but then the core fighter / head deploy and you kill them, and it acts like a ball almost, where you just get the final points.
You have to remember that if we're going to talk about core fighters, that would mean that the G3 technically would have a core fighter block as well.
That'd be good.
And so would the GPO1 FB.
That'd be really cool. Because theirs is different
too. Yeah. That'd be fun. And so does the God Gundam. And the Rising Gundam. And Gundam Maxter.
But so as far as space goes, one thing that I thought was interesting, they changed how the melee worked, right? So that was good. And they made it feel better. Yeah. That was one of the big things that they changed when they did the whole big rework
you mean
thing.
like overall? I thought you meant like I know what you mean now.
Yeah. So like when they did that whole change, I think that was pretty cool. One of the biggest things that I like that they keep doing with maps is they keep changing them up, and they cut the giant wall of go around it in half. That was a big deal.
There haven't been any map changes in a while, though, right?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
Yeah, it's
it's
been
almost.
last
I'd
big
I mean,
almost
it's
say
been a
like
long
initial
time,
balancing. Yes, I feel
but
like it's initial balancing, and they never touch it again.
yeah, like
Honestly,
that's
well, I won't say never, but
Well, it's
don't
also
touch
been that we just haven't had a lot of maps in a hot minute.
yeah.
Hmm.
So then
Space
they
Interior, I don't think has actually been changed, and the
no,
last big change that we had was Mountain. So like,
Hmm.
yeah. So I do like the interior map because it kind of gets rid of the Scurry, but I will say what they did with the Scurry and the other two maps is actually kind of interesting. The
It's
asteroid
balanced
one,
better.
yeah, the asteroid one, you get one at each base. And then the one with the giant wall, you get it's a spawn delay, so it takes it a minute before it actually even appears. So I don't know if that one is much better though with what they've done. I don't know if I'm happy
It's in
with
the
that one.
middle though, so it's almost like a
Yeah,
race to it.
yeah.
yeah, it's like a
I
power weapon
just
thing.
I just realized that not only do we have a Scurry in space maps, but we also have the Ogo or Ball.
Yeah,
So we would have what technically two map vehicles, I guess you could call them.
the Yogo actually puts out some pretty good damage too. It's got a missile
Mhm.
I
and
like the
a
Yoga. I was
Zaku
surprised.
machine gun.
I
The
had the ball
Zaku
better
machine gun.
Yeah,
personally.
yeah. The
The
ball
Zaku machine
has
gun is
a bit
quite
more.
nice though.
The ball is just really nostalgic and has a lot of options
Yeah.
on it. But like the Yoga is surprising. I thought it was going to be a lot shittier than it was.
Yeah, that's one thing I said earlier. I kind of wish we had a bit more variety of
Yoga Kai.
stuff on ground maps that you could get into.
I was surprised that they even gave the Ogo a dodge roll to begin with. I didn't think they would.
Wait, does it have a dodge roll?
Yes, it does.
Oh my gosh,
I never even thought about it.
I never
It
even
has a
decided to
dodge
try
roll.
it.
It does. The Ogo has a dodge roll, and it's weird.
Okay, so yeah,
It's
space
goofy that
vehicles
has it,
are
but the FB doesn't
better.
for the intercept.
Because I specifically remember doing a dodge roll and the Ogo going like, I did a dodge roll.
Not gonna lie, I've learned quite a bit from this one. This has been pretty legit. Just saying, like, yeah,
Yeah,
The
new
more you
players,
know.
we still have a lot to learn too.
yeah.
Oh.
But so yeah, that's my kind of biggest concerns with space is that it needs some more balancing, and I don't know if they've been trying to push it, but I don't know.
And I
Like,
think that's kind of where they're at right now. It's just like, why are we going to do all this extra like work if we can't even like coerce people to do it beyond dailies?
yeah,
Right.
So they've been pushing the spacesuits really hard. You know, these space only suits. And the Xeon is hype. The FB was kind of behind the wall, paywall, and that was a little rough, but people have been enjoying that suit. And they've had some other stuff in there, things that have space preference or are space only.
Speaking of the FB, it should be getting its own banner at some point because that was the quote unquote
What they were saying.
returning suit.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully that pops up pretty quick because
Not to
that
mention
thing's a
its
powerhouse.
secondary main weapon has been kicking around in the RT shop for a while still, so they haven't
Yeah.
forgotten about that.
And chat's talking about it right now. So just a reminder, since the Xeon came up again, you can target pilots with this high commute.
Yeah.
Oh yes,
Yes, you
yes.
can. All Psychonauts
Yeah.
units can target pilots with the
Oh
Psychonauts
man,
system.
It's so dirty.
when I found that out, I was like, oh my gosh, new levels of war crimes. Let's go.
I did that yesterday. I did that earlier today.
When I
for
first
space
got
runs.
when I first got the Bishop and I was out there and I was using my wire guided hands, all of a sudden I targeted a small person and I'm like, I can target pilots? And I'm like, oh yeah. I just boosted my hands. I
Yep.
swear the pilot had to go like, oh no.
I thought I was targeting the guy. I was like, oh, well, maybe it'll like blow up next to him and kind of interrupt him or something. No, it just shredded that dude.
It's so
Pretty
bad
good.
when you
And they
like
can't
gun
escape.
down them.
Oh yeah.
Like it's
You
so
can't
bad when you chase
defend.
them down too. It's like if a pilot gets out of their suit and bails and tries to go over to a spawn point, you're like,
Mm-mm.
yep, woo! Nope.
But yeah, that's been fun messing with those suits. Xeon's next one day.
Yeah.
Let's keep rolling.
I'm kind of curious though. What do you guys think about a meta for space? What? Yeah.
Just play the BD2 and 3, lol.
I mean,
yeah,
Wait, what?
400. That's been what it is still. Within a hot minute.
Pretty much.
I mean, it used to be Thunderbolt meta.
Oh
Like
god, yeah. I miss those days a
unrestricted
little
space.
bit.
Unrestricted space used to be Thunderbolt meta so hard. Like everybody pulled out a Psycho Zaku and a Thunderbolt Gundam and just went ham. Like everybody did. I'm just like, and I just sat there with like, it took me what, like a good 3 months until I could grab a Thunderbolt Gundam. So I was just sitting there in a 450, like, oh no, there's 500s around me. But
mean-
those days are gone, sadly. Or I think that's a good thing too. Maybe.
I personally think space kind of goes into two things. Like you can go traditional Blue Zuka. I also think I think that the higher play lasers kind of come into play, but I honestly think I think the best way to put it is just like whatever fast suit you have is really good. I mean, especially now to changes. And that's kind of that's another reason why I think maybe supports will start to get a push in a different direction as you go to higher cost. Just because like as we push into Zeta, we start pushing into space oriented combat. And I mean, just kind of think about it now, like Maniac, what suits in Zeta Gundam do you think would be a support?
Methus.
The Methus doesn't have a cannon and it's not a sniper. I could also see that being a raid too, personally. What else?
Let's see. Oh,
You guys are
I
welcome to
know.
comment, like
I
chime
know.
into chat as well.
Yeah.
Well,
Methus was
technically,
my
you'll
first
get.
thought, but yeah.
What were we talking
I
about
can-
the Zesa earlier too?
Yeah, the
That's
Zessa.
Yeah.
The Zessa's
Well,
double Zeta.
that's
though.
double Zeta.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
What I could see as a support. See, I can see the Ashimar being a raid.
Super
That's
Gundam
the thing,
came
I
up in
can't-
chat.
Super
and
Gundam. Super Gundam
I think that would be
definitely
good.
can be a support.
Yeah, that would be a good one.
definitely be a support.
And I think that one would honestly be a little bit different. Like, what do you think that would like maybe be more along the lines like space version of the GM2? In some cases, like because I mean, I feel like just like
Super
because it would have
Gundam
the
would be space oriented. I think it would be a
right.
space unit.
That's
It'd
what
be
I'm
a little
saying though. It'd
weird
be
on
like a space version of the GM2. Like you probably I can't remember if you can use the GM2 in space or not. You can. It's in it's from Stardust Memory, so I'm sure it can be used in space.
What?
But more of what I'm saying
Do
is
you
like
mean
it's a
the
space
GM Cannon
focus.
too, or just the
Yeah,
GM2?
I was about to say the
Sorry,
GM2
GM
isn't in
Cannon.
yet.
Sorry, I forgot to add the cannon thing.
I was
Yeah,
following.
GM Cannon
but-
2 is space and ground, but I don't
Yeah.
know. It's ground oriented, but it can go into space.
Right. So do you think the Super Gundam might be similar to the GM
Super
Cannon too?
No, see,
But it would
Super
also have more
Gundam.
options.
Super Gundam, for its core booster attachment thing, it was built for space with the attachment. So it would be space oriented. Now,
Right, but I think like I guess like I think you're going more into the technical aspects of the suit and less of like the play style though.
Yeah.
With your answer,
play style, I can see it as a support, definitely. Beam rifle, I don't know if it would be I don't want to say a charging beam rifle. I'm not entirely sure how they'll use that.
They would probably allow it to charge though.
Yeah,
I'm sure it would charge.
It'll probably
The
be both
interesting thing
though.
is that the FB sets an interesting standard with its long range because it can fire it on the move. So I don't know if they would even have you stand still for that.
See, that's what I'm trying to figure out because I'm not entirely sure if they actually had to fire it. Because I don't ever remember in the show
I
if they
think
had
it's
to do
akin
that.
to the Mega Launcher. I forget though.
I think it was supposed to be like a miniaturized launcher.
And if it is miniaturized, then yeah, I don't think.
I think
they
it would
might
have
not
to
let
sit
you.
still.
It
I
might.
think it would have to
The
sit
Shiki
still.
probably will for sure.
That's if they throw the Mega Launcher in for the
Yeah,
Shiki.
I don't think
Well,
they'll
I
do
mean,
that. No.
we have it in the 4, so I mean, as a higher cost version of the Unit 4.
They could. Yeah, they could in that case.
But how
I
would
think
it
it'd be
carry
fair.
it
But
around,
how?
though?
That was going to be my question. It's more of a.
How would they carry it around? Because you can't just summon it.
Yeah.
It's a video game.
We don't have versus.
It's a video game. It's a video game, man. Who cares where it
No,
comes
no.
from?
See, you
I
know
mean,
what it
that's
is?
the problem, though.
You know
like,
what it
they
is?
do
It's the
a
new
little
map.
bit, because if we had that, like, versus would be like the way that it actually summons stuff out of nowhere, or like Charsu turns into Zagok or other shit.
Oh
and
my
starts throwing
god.
shit.
It replaces the Skurays currently when you're playing at that cost. That's what
That'd be
happens.
kind of cool.
Yeah, I can see that
But
replacing the
kind of what I was getting at though is that like so the Super Gundam might be similar to like maybe the GM Cannon 2.
Yeah.
Koraz is telling me like the Gaza C and or D as potential support candidates.
Yeah, I can see the Gaza's units.
It'd be
The
cool to have
Gaza
one I can
D.
transform to.
The Gaza D has a chargeable, as far as I know, their beam cannons can charge for the Gaza D. Now I don't know about the Gaza C though.
Do they both use beam cannons though?
The Gaza C uses like a variant, so I don't think they'll be chargeable, like as chargeable as the other one.
But do you think it would, like, as far as the play style goes in that
play
regard,
style? I think
like,
they're
if it
going to
was
be
a
very
support,
similar. I think.
you think it would just be a shooty boy?
Yes.
Yeah, probably.
If it's a general, it would probably act like a GO4. But I can see it as a support type.
That would that be its only weapon? It feels. Or do you mean like with the mega beam launcher, or just like shooting the gun in general? It'd be like a GO4.
I was thinking more of stat wise. Like it would probably be shooting based stats. But in terms of like weaponry and stuff, I can see the Gaza D because like as more of a support centered suit for its beams. Now the Gaza C, on the other hand, I'm not entirely sure. I would probably see that more as a general type.
Yeah, because it'd be interesting. Because
Probably a
if
general,
it's primary weapon, do they have a melee weapon at all? Like the Gaza units?
The Gaza units should have a saber.
Yeah, they do have a beam saber. For sure.
They should have a beam saber at their disposal, and then if they're transformed, I know the Gaza D, its feet transforms into claws.
Oh, that's cool.
Gotcha.
But
Because
yeah,
like
the C has that knuckle duster that actually mounts on its back when it transforms, and that would be its mainline beam gun.
yeah, because mainly what I was getting at was that like maybe they'd have a sniper. Like I don't know. I feel like the Gaza suits as snipers would be like it seems weird to me personally. Like maybe having them as like a like it seems like they just have a lot of shooty boys. If that makes sense. Like kind of like you said, maybe more like the units for in regards to just like shooting its gun for its primary damage without the MLRS. I don't know, but I feel like the current like setup of support that we have may not be the same once we reach if like we get to the point where we reach higher cost, just because like the suits literally don't fall into the same categories. Like it was fine in a 1 year war because it was on Earth and everything was slower to some degree, but like as you get further into the series, or like further into the United Universal Century, it starts to get like quicker and faster, and like obviously the canon style like supports that we have now still exist. That's like the SA or whatever. This is a
Scissors.
yeah. This will probably be a good example of like the more stationary style space support that we're used to now. But like I honestly like if you want my take from it, I think as we move forward, supports will break out of the current like mold that they have right now, where it's like cannon, sniper,
somewhere
I don't
in the
know.
middle. in between.
variant, we'll just say like
Yeah.
that. I feel like there's probably like one more classification I can't really think of right now, but I think we'll break into them being honestly very similar in playstyle to like maybe generals, but maybe they have to add in like other mechanics, like my thing of the Mephis being a support, for instance, would be like maybe they introduce alternate support abilities. So like instead of it just being like radar, anti-jamming, stuff like that, like maybe the Mephis has a healing
I
ability,
was
like
gonna say, yeah.
a heal gun or a passive heal aura or something like that. Like I don't know, I think supports will be different as we move up,
Yeah.
essentially.
Like maybe even throw in some kind of like missile lock instead of just firing missiles as normal.
Yeah, or maybe a skill
Kinda
that
thing.
makes ASL weapons like broader, so it's
Yeah.
easier to hit with and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Or something like that. I don't
And
know.
essentially you just get a general type that has a lot more benefits as far as their shooting potential goes, kind of thing.
Mhm.
But yeah, I've really been surprised we haven't seen anything coming up that could be a support in the sense of repairing. That's been kind of interesting. When you said that, that's when you started going in that direction. I was like, yeah, maybe a repair gun, because that's what a friend of mine's been saying. Like, why haven't we seen any kind of repair gun kind of thing going on where you can like pull out essentially your pilot does the same thing, have a larger version of that, and then just
That
run up
heals a
next to
little bit more.
somebody and just and just go up and start repairing
Yeah,
your
I mean,
teammate.
it might just not work with like the normal like setups for suits, but I honestly think adding a like, because it's a support class. I have my mic, sorry. It's a support class, but like it's more like support's less of like in some cases less of a support. Like I know they have the skills that reduce like respawn time, let you see pilots and let you see radar and stuff like that, and like that's supporty, but like support's pretty much for the most part a DPS class. Like it's
Yeah.
a high damage output like DPS class.
Yep.
Like your generals are your frontline like tank wall. Your raids like are pretty much like counter picks to the, like I don't know, like MOBA terms. Like would you say that like
An assassin
the
almost.
supports like your ADC, and like which is what is it, attack or AD, yeah, attack damage carry,
Yeah. ADC.
in some degree. And like when I see that, like I almost think they should have called it like, I don't know, instead of support, like mobile suit destroyer, damage dealer. I don't know, like something like that. Gustav, you're
Maybe
very stone faced right now, by the way. It's like
Yeah.
having to glance up there and Gustav is just like, I am not amused. Or are you just reading chat?
Now I'm just thinking about the fact that general suits once we get towards Zeta are gonna cover a lot of those. We're gonna be stretching the bounds of what general means, even in that case.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking about different things that they could give support. So like they could give them decoys, the Zeta had stuff like that. They could give
Oh
them
my god, that'd be good too.
Yeah.
Like, oh my
yeah,
god, that's
you know
so
what I'm
Yeah.
talking
awesome.
about? You could give them
Yeah, I
binders
agree.
for the sealant guns that the Rick Diaz has. Some other games have them shoot that at suits to bind them.
Yeah.
We have those electric cables that certain other suits have, but there's no set like recourse for what suits get that kind of shit. And even if they do, they have a lot of other abilities that would easily put them in as either a raid or a general. So now we're gonna have this idea of they're gonna have to just make these split decisions to try to appease people who are, very heavy in support, giving them suits that could very easily be in other ranges because they can't let that role collect dust. Because
Yeah.
that type advantage is still going to be important, and that's probably going to be more based on the meta, what things are considered OP going forward, and what things really need to be bullied harder than others.
Oh yeah, Mega Nerd brought up dummy balloons.
Yeah.
which
I mean,
the
is that
dummy
what Gustav just
Yeah,
said?
that's
Yeah,
the
that's what he
decoy
just
stuff.
said, yeah.
Yeah.
So on top
now,
of them being like decoys and like being on the radar, they would also explode at a certain proximity or when
I
shot.
was thinking about that. I
Yeah.
was thinking, like, could they act like the hide bombs on the Gian?
Yeah. God, I
Yeah.
wish the hide bombs actually
Oh,
came out with more
jeez.
mass for the game.
If they actually put that in, can we like backpatch the Zakutu Kai to be able to shoot out Santa balloons?
That'd be amazing. And then seriously,
Yes.
have it be a
Yes,
specialized
please.
sub-weapon if that has to be the case. That's another
Yes.
thing that we're talking about because so many different suits in Zeta have extra things that they just slap on them from episode to episode.
Mhm.
You know, with that kind of stuff. Sometimes they pack entirely different things into where the decoys would normally be, just
Mhm.
to fuck around with that configuration.
Mhm.
So now
Also,
you have this idea of like, will sub weapons ever open up and have different things that they can be put into?
Mhm.
I know what you mean, because doesn't the Zeta Gundam have like where the grenade launcher is? Doesn't it have like a wire attack
Yeah.
yeah,
as well that it does? Like I
So-
don't think that's ever going to be in
That's
the game.
actually not.
Probably
That's
not
actually
gonna be
not
in.
supposed to be for attack. That's actually supposed to be like a range communication if you're actually in a heavy like
Yeah,
Minovsky
but Camille's
field.
nuts
Yeah.
and makes
I know he
everything
doesn't
a
give
weapon.
a fuck. He will
Like,
grab
being
a bitch and be like,
confused.
"Nah, come here."
well,
And
and
that's
then
very often, like not just him, but like after we see him do it, that sets a precedence for anyone else that has that. Like, hey, guess what? It's a grapple arm now. Like,
Oh,
fuck
yeah.
off. Come
speaking of the Minovsky thing, I think it's funny though that sometimes you'll see them actually,
Like,
have to
make
connect.
contact
Yeah,
with
they
the
have to make
circuit, yeah.
contact because of that, and then they yeah. Peter was talking about that here the other day, like them using that very the rules of their physics
Engagements and stuff.
are kind of fudged a lot of times, or sometimes disregarded altogether. But
Mhm.
but yeah, you think the Psycho Gundam will show up at all, or is that too
That
much
would be
more like a
hilarious.
mobile armor?
Only in an environment. I seriously think it's only going to be in an thing.
I want it to be
Unless-
an event map. That'd be so cool.
Unless they decide to make bigger maps.
Yeah.
The only map I could possibly think of the Psycho Gundam even fitting in would be in a space map, and that would be dark space, if that.
Now the first time we
It'd be
see
fun in
it,
dark
isn't it
space.
during that
Yeah.
that coastline city in Zeta?
Mhm.
Neo
Neo Hong Kong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like that was both transformed and then it actually like folded out afterwards too.
That
That's
could
an
be-
interesting
Yeah,
thing
but
too because it
remember-
is a variable suit.
Yeah,
Right.
It's kind of hard to video gamify the actual like folded up version of that. Oh my god! That's so funny. Yes, look at that. That's awesome.
well played. But like,
But this is what we're talking about when we mentioned the Zoc and the potential for the Zaccarello. Those
Yeah.
are like mobile armors that are kind of mobile armors, but not really. They had really
Mhm.
short run times in their related appearances. They had that higher output, but they were jobbed just as easily. The Psycho Gundam has a little bit more of a following and a little bit more of a precedence for that. Even in other games that have higher end suits that could be considered mobile armors,
yeah,
I don't remember ever seeing it as a mainline unless you want to talk about like Gundam Battle Assault, because they just didn't give a shit and put mobile armors as playable characters that you can unlock.
so I think that, but that could be an interesting support style thing as they start doing that.
Mm-hmm.
It would be good for an
Could we
event
see
scenario
some
suit,
mobile
kinda
armors?
like Heroes or whatever.
I think with the Zoc coming out, it's definitely possible.
Yeah.
Like
the Zoc-
chat just brought up the Elmeth. Like I don't
Oh,
think
yeah,
the
someone
Elmeth
was
is
asking for
too
that, too.
ridiculous
No,
now
the
that the
Elmeth-
Zoc's in the game.
The Elmeth could easily
Yeah.
replace the concept of the Zaccarello too. Like,
Yeah.
that would be another good space only
The
run.
Elmeth would be technically the right size to fit in dark space.
I wonder
And-
if we're. Oh, go ahead,
It
sorry.
would be a nightmare in interior.
Oh my gosh, I don't even know how that thing would fit.
It would
Oh
literally
my
just have to
God.
find a corner and just run its bits everywhere because there's no fucking way it's gonna go
Do
anywhere.
it. The only place you could fit it is at the base, and it would just launch its funnels.
Like it would
You
have
would
to
just
be
have
able
to
to
guide
flip
them
vertical
over.
through everything.
You spawn in wherever you spawn in, which going
just
through that
go
tunnel,
move.
you just break the tunnel as you enter.
You just get wedged in there, and you
You're
just
like,
shoot
wait.
bits the entire game.
But you destroy the tunnel as you come out every time you deploy, wherever you deploy at, and like where you're at the base, you're just stuck there in the base area, and then you either just gotta, I don't know, you have a redeploy feature or something. I don't know.
You just had to start showing
But-
up at different drop points.
But yeah, like when you start talking about big stuff like that, I just wonder if that could be a new type of support though.
Mhm.
With that said, is just ending up that because kind of what Emblem was saying is the that's kind of what I've described to some people is like essentially, depending on your suit, most of it is you've pretty much just got a bunch of bruisers as far as your general types. Your raid type is typically kind of like an assassin kind of thing, and then your support is your high damage dealer in the sense of either burst damage or consistent damage, being ADC or like a mage kind of deal. And
Dots and all
then
that.
generals can sometimes dip into one or the other based on what they are, and even some raids kind of get that. But again, assassin type playstyle typically has that kind of burst, kind of like the G line assault. I would say
Yeah, I was gonna
fits
say
that.
the assault is really weird, and it might actually set an interesting precedence for what other suits can do within their typings, because it can be an assassin with that lance. That shit's fucking scary, but it can actually smack people at mid to long with that
Yeah.
cannon. And if you fuck up and get too close, a couple bursts with that shotgun, and it can just set you up for the assassination. No
Yeah.
problem. So we might have a lot of suits that are kind of like that going forward. Not even just at Zeta, but advanced Zeta, anything that they do in between.
Yeah.
Let alone if we get more G lines.
And I wonder how many variants they might actually. Do we have too many variants of stuff that I'm trying to think in Zeta?
Oh, I
What we
mean,
got for?
yeah.
Well, no. What I'm
Well,
saying, is
Zeta.
in Zeta though, what kind of variants could they do in the sense of like having a support version of something, a general version of
Zeta is
something?
one of those interesting things where it's like they started to focus a little less on like mook suits, and every suit that you
Yeah.
get supposed to be like a sort of Gundam killer. Because the Mark II set a low bar, and then they got the super into the Zeta. So it started to escalate, and you had a lot of power creep, but you didn't have just smacking up against each other because it was kind of remnants at that point. Not really. It didn't get that bad until like double Zeta, but it wasn't a full scale mass war like the one. It was never that massive again. And that was kind of the point. There was more focus.
Yeah, hence the name the Grips conflict. It really wasn't called a war, it was just called a conflict.
Yeah.
It was just kind of like this kind of conflict between like literally two of one party and one outlier. That was literally what it was. You had the AU versus the Earth Federation, essentially, both part of the Earth Federation, and then you got Neo Zeon going like, "Hey, we exist. We're just gonna invade while you're fighting."
The interesting thing is that Zeta actually introduced Junior Mobile Suit too. You want to talk about alternate like vehicle maps?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, stuff like that too.
And that's the thing. Like, I wonder if we're gonna get stuff like that if they do new maps and things, and what I mean, we've talked about the funnels thing before. It's pretty much probably gonna work like a Saikamu thing type system, and I wonder what kind of new systems we'll get. But like, are we gonna get pretty much maybe just variants that they'll just make out of
Like
suits?
stuff like the biosensor and stuff like that. Like, what do you mean?
Well, I kind of mean like, are we just gonna get variants to? Are they gonna, like you might have a Zeta Gundam that can fit. We might have a general one and we might have a support one, kind of thing.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Like, are they gonna just try to push it into?
Yeah.
Are they just gonna push it into a role and fit a variant in? I wonder if
feel
they do something like
that's
that.
what the MLRS is about, but they did it really well in that case.
Yeah.
But on the surface, it does seem kind of silly. But that might be something that they do, just because of different variants and configurations that you can make.
I think the Zeta may end up doing what the full variant did, in terms of weapons. So again, I think we brought this up one time. I think that there's only going to be one version of the Zeta. I don't know if it'll be a general or a raid. They could just throw it in as a raid, but I would probably find it more as a general type myself.
I think it'd be a general too.
Yeah.
I think they're gonna do the Florian treatment, where if they decide to throw the Mega Launcher in there, it'll be tickets. And I think that would be its like secondary main weapon. But other than that, I can't really see of any other variant of the Zeta existing. I mean, I know Zeta 2 and the Zeta Plus exist, but that's like farther down
Right,
the
same thing with the
timeline.
Delta and all that.
Yeah,
I mean,
the Delta Gundam was just the perfected Hyakushiki, though. That's what it was.
but I mean,
Well,
kind of. I just wonder
go
if they'll
ahead,
try to just force some things into certain roles by just doing what they need to do.
I
And that
agree.
might
I
be,
agree with
it
you.
would be very video
Um,
gamey, but they would go
Yeah.
that way if they really had to.
That's why I said I think there'd be two ways that they would handle the Zeta. Like kind of touch on what Maniac said. I think if they make it one suit, they would be like you could have multiple weapon options because already suits have a ton of weapons. It's like your
Mhm.
primary weapon's a normal beam saber, but your secondary primary weapon is the long beam saber. You have a range option that's the beam rifle, but maybe you could do like what Maniac said, and the secondary like launcher is a DP item and you can like interchange the two, or maybe like if it's two different suits, because I mean I think it makes sense to have it to where you can have the suit out, because like maybe there's support mains that really want to play Zeta Gundam but they want to be a like you know a flat brain general player. So they have,
Oh,
just like how the MLRS is out, they have the support Zeta Gundam that uses the like the beam, like the large beam weapon as its main, and like the normal Zeta maybe can, and like maybe both can use either the beam saber or the long beam saber, but only one gets access to the normal Zeta beam rifle, but the other one gets the larger beam cannon, so that it acts more like a support, or something like that.
yeah,
And it's crazy how many variants the Zeta by itself has. Armor, half Zeta, the Zeta wave shooter equipment
yeah,
type, the plus A1 Unit 2 Plutonius prompt, the Zeta
Oh yeah,
Easy 3A, 3B, like holy shit.
yeah. So
yeah,
I
those
could
Zetas are
see,
sick looking.
I could see some of that stuff hitting, and then but in that respect, like looking at what we've already got, kind of like the VG is like a a counter sniper general type kind of thing going on with its cannon. It's a Gelgoog cannon, that is essentially, well, a Gelgoog cannon general type. And that's pretty much what it is. So I mean, I could definitely see them doing stuff with that already, but then I don't know. I feel like they would just push certain things into a support role and actually call it a support.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I
I
mean
agree with you
that
there.
kind of goes back to what I was saying before.
Yeah.
Like, so many of these can fit into that role. It
And I
just
think they're kind of already
depends on
doing
the order and how they prioritize.
Yeah. So, but anyway, we kind of got into the Zeta stuff there and talking about what they're coming up with. But
Well, I mean,
any other
I feel
thoughts
like
about
space
space?
discussion is a. Well, I was just gonna say, like, I think that's fine though,
Oh
because
yeah,
I
because
think
Zeta
that's like
is,
a discussion of the future of space combat.
Because
yeah,
Zeta's heavy
So like, I
space.
think
That was
because
before
Zeta,
like
yeah,
we went into
yeah,
the first one.
exactly. But kind
it's
of,
almost like theory crafting.
yeah, theory crafting space. Seriously though, I mean, that's kind of the reason why they would have made space in the first place, is pushing to Zeta.
Oh
Really, I
yeah,
mean, they
like
would have to
I'm
have
pretty
it.
sure. Yeah, because I mean, we can't like I said it before, but we can't afford for space to fail, because if it does, we will have a really hard time moving into the other games or
Yeah,
the other like timeline stuff,
Yeah.
or further down the timeline even.
And again, like we have 3 more cost ranges that we haven't even touched. 550 barely has a roster on it right now.
Yeah.
They're probably gonna have to keep compounding on that. The Zoc, despite us singing its praises, only goes to 500. Compared to some of these other suits. So we have that as a weird bound in terms of like power and output and what actually qualifies as a 550.
Oh yeah. So I'm kind of curious, how many more changes we're actually going to get for space because of that.
That'll be
And
interesting.
like,
Especially
will
with the
they
variable suits
move?
too.
Will they remove some chunks of stuff? If they put bigger suits out there, or are they gonna, are we gonna get more
Expand the
maps?
bounds of those maps and all that.
Yeah, like, kind of interested to see what they do. Like, it's actually sort of exciting, even though I don't play too much space right now. But I definitely I've been trying to be like, okay, today's gonna be the day that I just go and hit space really hard and climb my rating up, and then I'm just like, yeah, let's do some ground maps because typically, when you when you queue for space, if it's not the daily, then you're like, yep, do simulator forever.
Mm-hmm.
So that
I
can
also
hit pretty
haven't
hard.
gotten the gun cannon heavy custom. I'm looking at some of the stuff that at least
Ooh.
like debuted in there, and then there's also people talking about the in the movie only, Advanced Hazel was actually in there for a hot second.
That'd be pretty cool.
Gun Tank 2 looks really goofy.
Oh, the gun tank 2 is literally
It's literally
that-
a gun platform, like in the purest sense.
it,
It doesn't
it
look like it
literally
even move
it
horizontally at
looks
all.
like something that the U.S. military would
Would
just
just
come
make
up with.
yeah.
Yes.
Oh, they sold what's that one big robot? Something Prime. Fuck.
What
Megabots.
for the robot fight?
Yeah. They sold it, but it actually got sold to Russia. But imagine if the US just, for shits picked it up and tried to slap a bunch of guns on it. That's essentially what the Gun Tank 2 is, and it's so good.
Yeah. Like the gun cannon 2 looks like it looks like a nice gun cannon variant, but you look at the gun tank 2 and it's like it's like one of those gosh, I don't see. I
It's
don't
just
want
so
to
out of
be
place
mean.
by comparison.
It like I don't know how to like describe it. It's like
What
one
would
of
the
the
GM2 even have over like the custom after a certain point?
the
I see what you guys are talking
GM2
about, though.
technically lore wise was a higher performance suit.
Which
It
is
was
kind of crazy since it's like an MP version of the Alex versus a continuation of the GM, which is pretty
well,
outdated to begin with.
remember the gym custom was a limited run suit. It was
Mhm.
never fully mass produced. So they had to come up with a variant that would be easier to mass produce in the meantime. So
It's kind of an in-betweener for the Nemo.
yeah, it
Yeah.
really was. The Gym 2 to the Nemo, essentially. It was like, oh yeah, we have the Jim Kai, but we need something better than the Jim Kai. Well, we just gave a few ace pilots Jim custom.
Command
Can't
and all
mass.
that.
Yeah. Yeah, the Jim Command was
What the hell does the Barzum even?
the Barzan. Oh gosh, that I don't even know what to do.
See, we're
with that
talking
thing.
about a lot of weird Axis suits because we have like that.
Well, Barzan,
the Bylard,
Barzan,
the Hambravi or whatever the fuck.
those are all Titans units. Those aren't part of
Mhm.
Axis.
Oh man, they had a hold on, they had a Hammurabi. Can we get like turtle tat
Ooh.
or sorry, Yazan's like turtle tattoo as a like
that
logo
would be
Yeah.
amazing.
for an emblem for our mobile suits? That'd be
Yes.
sick.
There
man.
we go, dude.
I want to be turtle tat.
Oh my
And then
gosh.
there's a really late end suit called the Bolinoic Saman.
Okay, that was Sarah's suit. That
Yeah.
was what Sarah used at the end. And then she
It looks like something that you would see in Turn A. Like it looks like that other
Yeah.
OBX or whatever.
Yeah.
yeah.
One thing too, by the way, on the Gun Tank 2, the reason why I want it so bad for it to hit somehow is it looks like something that I would play in like Chrome Hounds
Mech Warrior
back in the day.
game. Oh yeah.
Yeah, dude. Tank treads with all those cannons and stuff. That was my kind
They
of that was
always,
kind of
they
my
always make
that
the
was my mech.
Zaku tank look like such a weirdo in these pictures.
Yeah, right.
He's got these
Oh,
little
man.
like gropey little manipulator hands. It's got no cannon on it or anything. It's just
Yeah.
a Magellan tank. But
Well, technically the Zaku tank
it's supposed to be like
a
a
word.
construction thing.
Yeah.
Like our version of it in game is like a heavy custom version compared to like what the hell this is.
Yeah. But
But
I was
yeah.
just gonna add that I looked up the gun tank too after you guys were talking about it. It
Mhm.
looks like a suit that the Federation would make. I mean, the design matches up. I guess not a suit, vehicle, whatever that the Federation would make. Like, have you seen their
Yeah.
naming conventions? Like, I could believe they would make that platform, that weapons platform. Like, I still stand by the fact that like they sit at a table with a bunch of beers and are like, what are we gonna call our what are we gonna call our like main battleship's primary cannon? Mega particle cannon. Heck yeah, boys! Woo! Let's get some Zeeks.
Hyper a mega
Yeah,
particle
hyper
cannons,
bazooka, mega
Super
particle cannoneer.
Gundam,
They're like, man, that sounds cool. Let's go. Like, I don't know, man.
ultra compact.
Yeah, exactly.
Instead of us fusing two scientific terms together,
No. It's
Yeah.
super
making the
hyper
photon
mega.
laser. Yeah, we're just gonna add more like adjectives to things. or something
Literally,
like that.
fucking Gatling Buster is all you need to understand.
Yeah.
We're gonna give Blue Gundam the Mega Beam Launcher.
I mean, what are
It sounds really cool.
It's all for the merchandising, boys. Don't you worry.
Get all those little kids getting those toys.
I bet you anything they did have their own figure line in Universal Century just to fuck around for that.
Oh my gosh.
It's propaganda that sells itself. Like, forget it.
Oh, and then there's supposed to be a local control type gun tank as well, but that was
Oh.
never in the first game though.
The two was like you
Interesting.
said though, we could see it. Anything is possible.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I want the 2. Just saying.
I'll
That'll
pass on that banner.
that'll be my main. That'll be the only tank that I actually play.
But the Zock's the best tank in the game.
I mean, at this point, yeah.
The Zoc right now is the best everything right
The
now.
bound dock is gonna be a weird one.
Oh gosh.
Oh gosh, yeah,
There
the
you go.
Bound Dog. Like, what would that even fit? Would that fit a raid?
It's pretty fucking big too, isn't it?
Yeah, it's huge.
I am guessing
It
raid.
would probably be a raid because it literally has a scattering mega particle gun, a beam saber, and a rifle. So it's
Yeah, and
pretty
it has
baseline.
claws. It has like a claw in its
Yeah.
right hand or something.
yeah. So you're definitely gonna make that shit a raid.
But why would you play it? The Zoc has claws too. It's literally the best suit in the video game. I mean, why
Now-
are we talking about these other mobile
okay.
suits?
So-
do we think that they're actually gonna give it some more like higher level variants going forward? That'd be hype, just for the
That
Zoc
would
in
be
general.
nice.
So what I'm hearing here, Emblem,
Make that a
is
550 or a 600.
what I'm hearing here, Emblem, is you've converted to a support player.
When it comes, I've converted to the best mobile suit in the game player actually.
He's converted
Support.
to
Into the
support
Zoc.
whale.
I mean,
No,
it's
no, no,
it's
the
a
Zoc
support.
To the Zoc.
The Zoc
The Zoc
transcends.
transcends typing. Okay.
It's a raid if you want it to be.
Yes, it's the Zoc. Thank
No,
you
no,
very much.
sorry.
It's
It's just
it's its own type.
Zoc
Yeah,
the
it's
the
class
Zoc
is
is the
the
Zoc type
Yeah,
with
so,
the
I don't know what
Zoc
raid-
type.
I don't know what a raid or a general or support is. I only know the Zoc.
I mean, real talk, if we start getting more like mobile armor-ish, we're just gonna call them types. Like at that
Yeah.
point, it doesn't matter
know
what?
what?
They're designated. They're
Yeah.
just under Zoc types.
If next week on the podcast we come
We
back
got a
and
new Zoc type.
and
boys.
Emblem's been playing nothing but the one and only Zoc type, and we're like, so yeah, how's it been going for you this past week, Emblem? Zoc.
Yep. Don't worry. Next week I will call the new banner suit the not Zoc,
The not Zoc.
not a
Note that
Zoc.
one. Somebody clip
I don't
that
know why
just
they
in case.
released. I don't know why they released a not a Zoc this week. They should just loop the Zoc banner for the rest of eternity
Man. Yes, please.
for the game's life. Because why would we need another mobile suit?
Hey, if
or
we have to
mobile
have
armor?
another level variant
Or
of the Mega
anything.
Gundam every time, then we can have some more of this.
So what do you guys think the new banner is going to be?
I can see okay, so since we technically got like 2 supports in a row, I think it's going to be a general.
I mean,
I honestly think it's going to be a general type.
I'm still holding out for the GOG just for shits.
you know what? I think
level
I think
2
it's going to
Zoc.
be I think
Level 3 Zoc.
level 3
Level
Zoc.
2, yeah, level 3 Zoc. My bad. Level 2's already out. Level
550 Zoc.
level 3 Zoc.
I
for
mean,
sure.
I'm
I know
gonna
what the
go out.
banner's gonna look like.
I'd be down for that as a secondary banner. Let's go. Let's do it right now.
You know, I'm gonna guess it's probably gonna be the not Zoc.
Zocktober and GOG.
I think the
Zocktober.
not Zoc is a pretty
Gogtober.
safe bet.
Goddamn.
Yeah, I updated the banner on my stream. Like that's what the banner is gonna look like. It's just literally gonna be
Not over the top.
it's like right underneath it, just like the Zoc
Level
level
3.
3 joins the fight. That's next week's banner, like for sure. It's
Oh my
Zocktober.
God.
Like every banner's gonna be to Zoc. What kind of like I don't even think this is a question.
I mean, I have to agree with what
Sock
Mechanerd
level 5.
Gogtober.
Gogtober.
Um,
Zoctober, Gogtober.
I will say I do want to see a new raid at 200 cost, even if it's Shadow. We need another raid at 200 cost. I'm agreeing
Yeah,
with
we
Emblem.
honestly do.
Oh, yeah.
You know what? You know what my vote is? I finally with help of chat and stuff, I finally agreed on and I don't know if Chad actually said this too. Maybe that's who I got it from. I can't remember. But anyway, Ramba Raw's Zaku 1.
Ramba Raw's Zaku 1 would be cool.
That would be pretty legit. And the other thing is that I like about it is that it would be kind of like the Goof in the sense that it has a shield. You know, it's not too crazy, and I mean it would be a good starting suit for people in 200 cost. Like, I haven't made my raid video yet, but I'm probably gonna talk about, you know, as far as me getting into raids. The first raid that felt really easy to get into was the Goof, and one of the reasons is it does have a shield and it's a little bit forgiving. So
what is like the big difference between his and a typical Zaku one? Like, is it just shield?
mainly it has
Does
a
it have
shield.
like other things?
Mainly it has a
To
shield.
be kind of
So-
like a GS, but like with the axe still and all that.
They probably had some flair for the pilot though.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and give it
yeah.
different animations for the swings and stuff too.
Yeah, I think it. I'd have to look it up again, but I think it's pretty much the same thing. They'll probably let you use the bazooka for your combo. I feel like it's gonna kind of feel like a well, kind of like the GS a little bit actually. Yeah.
I don't know. Chat just told me that when Norris uses his Akuan, he punches things. So I'm okay. Like, screw Ramba Raw, no offense, Raw. Like, Lieutenant Raw, I love you, or you know, whatever. But if I can get punchers Aku in, like, you know, I already know the recon's a thing, but like a raid version, like I'm down to like play Shiro's dad
A decked out prototype
Stepdad, my
Zaku
bad.
would be kind of interesting.
or Doen. You know, Karate Zaku's cool too.
Oh hell yeah, that'd
Oh,
be
yeah.
amazing. Just yeeting rocks at people and doing little punches and shit. Like, go.
I could just see like somebody
It
in the
should be the
background like
first. It should be the first suit with a command grab that's not a counter. Just be able to run up on people and do that shit.
That'd be sick. I'd be
That'd
down
be
to
fucking
do.
Oh,
hype.
yeah.
I would be all about that life.
I could see the Zaku just like in the background
Give
just
it
picks
stealth
up
and just
this
have it come
huge
around
rock
and
just
grab
chucks
bitches.
it.
I mean, Maniac, that would solve your issue of, you know, where the Haiku Shiki gets its, you know, cannon from. I mean,
If you can pull out a rock out of
Karate-
nowhere, you can
yeah, if
pull out a
Karate
whole
Zaku can summon rocks. I mean, who
Right.
cares where the
We can
laser gun
summon
comes
a
There you
from?
go.
gun.
Right.
I'll take that.
Okay. Gem Striker Kai is probably not going to be coming anytime soon.
Yeah.
I
That'd
think
be
it's
cool,
still
though.
going to be the event suit, honestly. The
I
next
I,
November.
I think it's probably going to be the yeah, I can see that. And they may now.
What about the? I know the semis came a lot later, but the semi striker and the semi there was another one.
The Semi Striker and the I know which one you're talking about.
Semi seeker, semi night seeker,
Yeah.
or something like that.
Yeah. It was like Semi Seeker, probably.
I roll on it. You had me at Striker.
Yeah.
If it plays anything like the GM Striker, like, deal. I'll throw some tokens at it.
Yeah. Well, we would need the Gym 2 first before we get the Semi Striker.
That's
else.
true. But
Well,
it's
it's a Gym
interesting
2.
that that would set a precedent for it, so that'd be cool.
Gym 2's already in the game. Gym Cannon 2. GM Cannon. We're good. Let's go get that
So
Striker.
GM2
Well, I
semi
mean-
striker, then there's just a striker. That's a little.
I mean, the
far,
Gym
though.
3 is technically Gym 3 is technically in the game, but they won't release
No, it's not. It's in the beta. It's two separate
it's
things.
still it's still in the game's
Oh.
code. It's still in the
We don't
game.
know that. It could have deleted it.
What did they do?
Right.
I'd be sad.
Oops.
Dude, I like all I gotta say to people who are like, you know, well, the GM3 was in the game. It's just like that was just a beta teaser. Like,
That's true. It really
until we
was.
get there, like it was just a beta teaser. Like I don't think
Mhm.
anybody should use it. Like it is in the code and it does exist. But I mean, in that regard, like let's go and let me play the narrative as well. Like it was in the
Right.
base
Yeah,
game.
yeah.
You know, like, you get,
Model was in the
I
game.
mean, first deployment is 0088, right? It's double
What
Zeta.
the
for the GM3.
The Gym 3, yeah, it was a double Zeta unit.
So the narrative was in the code.
Technically,
It wasn't playable. It wasn't
well,
playable.
Yeah,
so
but it was in the
just
code,
the
though.
model
Yeah, the
because
model
of the
code
event. Remember, they
yeah.
put it in the baseline, the base camp.
But
Yep.
you know what a Zaku 2 is? Really close to the sortie counter.
Yeah, okay, so
The
that's
narrative was over there.
Yeah, they put the narrative in there,
And they put the Alex there kneeling during the Christmas event.
which is cool.
Oh yeah, I actually forgot about that, but you're right.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. I got in like around January, so I missed some of that. That's actually kind of cool. That's interesting. I
They
wonder if
hope they
that's.
do more stuff like that, especially for Halloween.
I'm kind of curious. With that said, though, I wonder if they're gonna push this all the way, like really far, and onto the PS5. Or are they gonna? Or are
The
they?
port or whatever, yeah.
Yeah, or are they gonna do some of that in 3 and probably use the same engine?
They could.
Well, see,
I mean, that's kind of where we get into a crossroads, right?
Yeah.
They could port it. They would still have to tend to the least
Right.
common denominator if they do that, performance-wise.
Mm-hmm.
Or they could try to half-ass it, give it the GBO2 engine, and just put more in it.
Yeah.
Or if they're stupid crazy, try to do everything all over again, have it start at Zeta, and then compound from there with a whole new engine.
Well,
But just having everything as a backlog.
Remember, how GBO2, I don't know how GBO Next saved, but GBO2 saves to your PSN account. It does not save to your system. It saves to your account.
Yeah, because if we did the other client, we would have fucked anyway.
Right. So how it will probably work is that if they do port it over to PS5, all they would have to do is just port over like the code. That's literally it, because your PSN should have the data already saved.
Right.
In theory, but I don't know if that'll actually work.
Yeah, I guess you'd have to ask next players about that.
Yeah, whoever played GBO Next would know better.
Because as it is, they do it for mobile games. They usually have.
I mean,
you
I'll
link it
say
to
when
something else.
I played GBO Next back on the PlayStation 3, and when I played it again later on the PS4, all my stuff, but all the very minimal things that I had were still there. So I mean, it shouldn't be like, I don't see why it wouldn't be a clean transition if they did.
There you have it.
That'd be pretty
cool.
Yeah. So, anything else we want to talk about?
God, we went a little bit beyond some of this stuff.
I was gonna say we just
we just kind of went downhill from.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if downhill is the word, but yeah, we definitely went somewhere.
Uphill. I guess we just
Uphill?
like launched into space, literally.
Hey. Well played. But yeah, anything else as far as the topics, or any last thoughts?
I mean, the one thing that we should say is that a lot of our talk about space changes, or going forward into Zeta and stuff, a lot of that speculation for now.
Yes.
Some of that might actually be realized, and if it is, then good. Hopefully, they actually do something with these next couple of cost brackets that we get. But until we get there, we're just not gonna know. They've been pretty slow to give out news. We don't get a lot of leaks. In terms of English correspondence, we don't have a lot of stuff like that.
Yep.
So we're gonna know a little bit later, unless we're on top of the JP site, and they're probably not gonna know a whole lot sooner than either any of us are, anyway. So here's hoping, but a lot of that's just speculation for now.
Yeah, that is a very good point to make. That which I mean, just learning some of the things about the the G and the S actually being able to check what that is, and if the limited information there, that I didn't even know about that. The lack of information that they have in this game is kind of interesting in some of the parts that they do. And I do understand that they're
Mhm.
masking some things because then it would just literally be a numbers game as to what the meta is. So fair enough.
But the thing
But
is that people have forced it into a metas game
yeah,
regardless.
Yeah.
You know,
exactly.
we're over here
Well, yeah.
advertising things like the English Wiki. You know, Maelstrom and all these other guys are putting in this work to make stuff like that happen. They're going to make it into a numbers game indirectly, even if that's not their intent.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so one way or another, if it's competitive and if there are stats, we are going to crunch those numbers. People are going to prioritize what we get per banner because there are people who are going to whale for the sake of making content on anything new that comes out.
Yeah. Well,
Is that a
and
jab at me?
No, because
No,
I mean
it
we
was
have
more,
a lot
it was
of.
more at me.
I mean,
Yeah,
I don't know if that's a.
actually not
I just
at
messed with you
you
because
because we
I
got
rolled hard
we
on
got
the
people in the
Zoc.
JP accounts.
Yeah.
Well,
No,
I mean,
know.
not even that though. It's
and
just
all
like I don't know if
those
that's a
other guys.
jab. That
Sorry,
could be
no,
a
I was
positive.
overreacting. I was
I don't know.
overreacting on purpose.
You could totally
I mean,
start whittling again on this next banner. Let's just hope you
I'm
don't
not
have
gonna
such
do it.
horrible.
I'm not gonna
goals.
do it.
I
Unless
mean,
they
it makes
release
sense
a
for the
giveaway
second.
tomorrow.
Ooh,
I'm good.
that's what I was about to say. Actually, I was like, I mean, it makes sense that you would choose the Zoc to well on a second time, but I mean, I
But-
think, but then yeah, probably the only one I was gonna say is the key relay. Is your next welling.
I'll probably well on Zeta too. I really want both of those suits. Like Zeta and Cubile are like easily some of my favorite suits in, like in the entire
Yeah.
franchise.
I'll throw down for the Sheik. There's a lot of cool suits in Zeta. You know,
Mhm.
things that don't have a lot of representation in other games that if they do get on this game, I'd love to see how they realize them in this engine. So that's all going to be very interesting. And there are a fair amount of suits that I'll probably whale on just to see if I can increase my chances of getting them.
But yeah, I wonder. I wonder how many sales they're gonna have. I really want them to have an event sale coming up around Halloween and Christmas because
Yeah.
I wouldn't
At
mind. I
least
wouldn't
for the
mind getting some
holidays
more
in general.
tokens for sure.
Christmas
Just a little bit.
definitely they'll have a sale because they did a sale for the 15 token, or was it the 30 pack? I can't remember, but
Yeah.
they did a sale during the Christmas event.
Okay.
Mm.
Well, that's probably my next money saving adventure is gonna be for that. But
That'd be something to keep an eye out. And I'm sure, like, once we find out, we'll be making sure everyone else finds out too.
oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Get those out there.
By the
Because
way,
even like when we did the Western Roads, like that was one of the first things I screenshot was just having the prices for all the coins and stuff and putting that on like, my page and a couple other things.
yeah. Yeah, that was one of the main questions I got in chat was how's the monetization and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And yeah, I mean, I will say though, like the pay to win is there. I mean, again, like, as far as just clarifying definitions here, because I know that's when somebody's like, well, what do you mean pay to win, right? My definition of pay to win is on day one, if you have 0.101% advantage over somebody by spending any monetary amount, then that is pay to win. That's my definition. So yes, it is. But with what they've done, I mean, I'm almost 4 pro already, dude, and like on that alt account, and I haven't really put in that much time. You know, I've just been pushing it up to A, and that's about it. But I mean, like,
I'm already A-
emblems,
on mine.
yeah, like once they start, or not emblems, but medals. Once the medals start hitting here later in the month, like that's the
like
insane
even one
thing.
of my guys was asking, like, "Hey, how are you gold already?" And it's because I wailed on the Zoc.
I'd say like I
Yeah.
just I got gold
Yeah.
already.
But like, and that's the thing. But at the same time, people are gonna well, and people who don't well as much, you know, you can get some benefit out of that, and that's kind of how they push the medals. And yeah, I actually have to say it's been a huge boost just seeing a couple of silver, even bronze right now. It's like, okay, cool, I'm gonna be corporal in no time. So like, I don't know how much longer I'm actually gonna play the alt account I made. I'm probably gonna be done here once I hit A. But because my Japanese account already has so much more stuff, I just probably use it as my alt account.
That is the nice thing about having an entire different player base have that spending power now too.
Yeah.
Because you will be seeing them a lot earlier. Because I don't know, spending habits aside between the two different cultures, you're just gonna have people that you're getting more preference on for the the Western client. They're gonna be throwing down early, even if we don't.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I also my main point about the like corporal thing though is I don't think I hit corporal, and I was just playing the game like crazy person. Like I do a lot of Path of Exile stuff, and in between Path of Exile streams at the time, I was like, okay, now it's midnight, time to go to bed. Okay, bring up 50 million trade windows and sit here and do boring trading for the next 4 hours. Oh, hey, look, queue up for a game because it takes like 20 minutes to get in one because it was queue simulator back then because of how they had the lobbies going too. So that was another thing. Like in those 4 hours, I might get half the games. I probably get the same amount of games in like an hour now that I did in 4 hours. But the thing is, though, is at the same time, though, I'd be queuing for 4 to 6 hours, doing boring trading and stuff in between things, and then I'd be like, okay, time to play. Okay, 8 minutes up, let's get back to trading. Queue for next one, and like I just was grinding that out, and it took probably 3 months, I think, before I was somewhere in corporal. Like I'm almost there, and it's a week. Like, and that's because a few medals have been being popped already.
Oh yeah, it's definitely boosted.
Yeah, so like I wasn't even Master Sergeant for between 3 to 6 months, rather. That's what it was. Somewhere in 3 to 6
And I
months,
think
I
some
hit
of that is
Master
their
Sergeant.
concern, especially when it comes to new players wanting to buy XYZ suit out of the shops.
Yeah.
Them speeding up that process is definitely in their best interest.
Oh yeah,
Like,
because
you talk about people saying like this game's so these suits don't perform the way I think they should, and it's like at higher costs they will, and if you get more parts, then they definitely will.
Yeah, and that's the biggest
you
thing
you need to be able to plow through some of those ranks, and having those emblems get in there is definitely gonna help.
Because firing program and melee program 3 is sergeant and 4 is master sergeant, and you pretty much need those when you get to those insanely high cost suits because you got 17 long range slots, and even in some suits that don't have too many, it's like, oh well, this one still has 12, and it's like some general type, and it's like, wow, that's you can fit almost all of them on there at that point for ranged and melee.
A good example for like fitting a lot of ranged and melee mods is the Cold Districts gym.
Yeah.
Because of how it's set up.
Not gonna lie, I glass cannon all that suit. Like I literally just put nothing but all of its parts is nothing but ranged and melee modifiers, and that's it.
Just olive shoot.
I don't have any other mods on it, so it's just pew pew and then melee knockdown, pew pew some more, or just melee them again.
Most of mine are at like 40 for range, 40 plus.
Yeah.
Just getting in there and laying havoc.
Well, and the thing I like about it too is you can grenade somebody and knock them down, and then if their team's coming, you just pull back and shoot them, and you're still going to do decent damage.
How bad for you? What happened to your leg?
So it's like either instead of doing melee dash back, go in for another melee if nobody's around, or you can just melee dash back. 3 of their teammates are coming, and it's like, okay, see ya, but also pew pew, your legs are gone. So yeah, it's a really solid suit, and with the recent buffs to it too is, I mean, I say recent now, and it's been like it was back in the anniversary. Yeah, but honestly, it feels like the space changes weren't too long ago. But then, then you guys keep pointing out forever ago, and I'm like, oh wait, yeah, that was like 3 months ago or something. But yeah, I think we've covered pretty much just about everything that we were planning to. Anything else?
I think that about covers it for now.
Yeah, I can't think of anything.
Okay, so I guess so. Next week, kind of a preview statement here. So we're going to be doing the. Is that going to be our tutorial tips and tricks stream kind of thing going on, or podcast? Is that going to be that episode?
I think it'd be fun, and if anything like crazy or big happens, we could supplement that in as well.
Okay, cool.
But I was honestly thinking about streaming like, I don't know, Thursday. So I know I have Thursday off. I might stream and try to do some beginners stuff.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
I think it's helped out. Like I've done a few on my ends, just in like on last Sunday, for instance, I like got newer players to do 1v1s with me, and
Yeah.
I would like see what they're doing and try to give them some pointers and stuff like that. So I definitely want to reach out. People who may have saw me in Magnum on like the first night or so, just destroying plebs.
Man, the
Contrary,
clubbing.
yeah, contrary to like what you may have seen like day 1 or 2, I want everybody in the community to grow and become better players and stuff like that. Like I love Battle Operations, a fun game, and I love the idea of being able to help people out with it. Newer
Well,
players always need some resources.
and with that said, that's kind of the reason why I made a new account in the first place. The day one, it was kind of funny watching some of the. It's really, I always love seeing somebody new to a game. I Path of Exile is probably one of my favorites because people will come in that are new and they'll be like, "This doesn't make any sense," and I'm like, "Yeah, it does." Oh wait, I've played this for 7 years. Duh, it makes sense to me. You know, the attack speed on there, like looks like you're flailing around having a seizure half the time. So it's like, oh yeah, this does look silly to most people. So like seeing people bail out, for instance, it's kind of one of those things, and that's one reason why I kind of started the new account is I wanted to see what mistakes people were making at the same time, and then kind of try to make a video about those, and also show that even with hardly any parts at high cost, you can do well. You just gotta play certain ways and play to your what you've got strengths at least. So
It's essentially just compounding on like understanding what the actual basics are
yeah,
beyond what the training tells you or how it implies certain things.
yeah. Oh, and that's another thing. I like does the tutorial. I mean, I did it, and I can't remember now at this point, but does it actually show you that? Does Tinda actually tell you that, hey, I've got a bunch of tutorial stuff that actually gives you things? Like I can't remember if she takes you into that menu.
So.
She says, "Hey, do you want to do some training?" That's all she.
You have to talk to her for it.
Yeah. Like I know you have to talk to her for the little tutorial section while you're going around to each
but no,
part.
she doesn't say anything about additional training at all.
Yeah. So
and that's one of the
was
things
added.
when we talk about like
that was the first
beginning
video I made.
sequence,
Was like, what do you do after you've done the first tutorial? And the first thing I was like, do the next tutorial. And then after that, then you can go start buying this or going into whatever game, and then you got a good 200 general type that is actually pretty competitive. The
I
trainers.
think the tutorial message is in one of Tenda's flavor text things that scrolls out the bottom of the screen. I think it's like that might be it. I know when it first came out, they actually advertised it on the main banner.
right?
They honestly probably should have added that back after the Western release,
Or at least
but
put
I
it
wanna
in
say-
for like the beginning sequence,
or force you to go to it though. That's
like,
what I
at
was
least
saying.
Tell you that it's a thing.
Yeah, because I know 2 people personally that just got into it, and they were like, "So how do you do this?" And I was like, "Okay, I'm guessing you just skipped the second tutorial." Wait, what? And I was like, I did I skip over it just because I knew it was there, or did I, And then another friend of mine started, and it's just the same thing. And so I'm waiting for another friend of mine to get back with me with the same statement. I'm kind of curious now if he comes back with the same thing. And
So
either
you're
it's
saying your friends are for failure, is what you're telling me?
maybe I'm making
By
fun of
not
them
telling
right
about
here.
the tutorial. This game's really hard. Like people are doing crazy stuff. It's like, well, did you play the second tutorial?
What tutorial? Yeah, there's another tutorial that you have to do.
But
What?
like seriously though, like I would hope that they would have
Yeah.
pushed you to, because they
And
force
that's
you to go
the weird
around.
thing is
Like
that
they don't do the
give
hangar
you-
either. I noticed they didn't tell you to go to the hangar at all. And
No,
there's
they
Hangar
don't,
Girl
because
there. So it's
when-
that was another thing I put in my first video. It was like, by the way, there's a hangar, guys.
For the tutorial, when they made that tutorial for the beginning of the game, they did not change it when they added the hangar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they did not tell you to go to the hangar.
Okay, so
They
they
just
probably didn't tell
said-
you to talk to Tinda again either.
Right, and they didn't tell it. Yeah, they did not update that initial quote unquote training.
And it's interesting because the tutorial stuff they do have incentives for. You get a couple free spins out of that shit. You get suits and other stuff.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they obviously wanted you to do it. They just didn't have any indicators for beginning players at that point. That'd be something for them to fix, even if it's just a quick quip, even if they can't like change that sequence entirely, but there's got to be something. We can tell people until we're blue in the face, but we're still going to miss folks just because we don't really have that kind of
I mean, I think they should just add a load-in banner for it.
Yeah.
Just a part of the stuff you see at the beginning.
Mhm.
I mean, I don't know if it's the same idea, but if they can code the game to like know that a player's new and give them access to like the new player banner and stuff like that. I mean, they could have they could code a temporary banner that sticks around for new players, like when they load into the game for a few days, just to be like, hey, go check out those tutorial missions. Or maybe like once you beat them all, it takes it like it's on your screen of like load first login options as you cycle through them until you like do them all, and then it's, I don't know, that might be a little bit too much just because people may not care enough to get the DP or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
They feel
But
like they're
just something along those lines to kind of just let people know it's there. Like some people may just skip right past that, but more people will probably read it than not. So maybe that's a good option. But people don't read signs either, so who knows?
Yeah.
But I mean, it's one of
That's
those
the
things
only
you just
thing with
have
it.
to put as like a cover, as just an
Mhm.
extra measure to say that you did.
Yeah.
Well, and then sometimes people don't even read the tutorial stuff that they've already got into it, where they force you to go to wherever too. So
Yeah.
there's some people who just skip through all the buttons, just hit X as fast as possible.
Yeah, they're like, I just want to play the game. Ah!
Yeah. So, but yeah, we'll try to do that next week then. But okay, cool. So who wants to start on the outros? Who wants to go first? Emblem?
All right.
Or-
Sounds good to me. But
Direction.
yeah, so I'm GamingEmblem. I stream on Twitch, and I kind of wanted to touch up. I'm glad Gustav brought it up earlier, but we're part of a more recently formed group now called GBE, which is the Gundam Broadcast Stations. We're reaching out to. We're working on like getting more people in for sure, but we're a group of streamers that like play like-minded games, like it's mecha stuff, but also like a main theme on Gundam, but we diversify our bonds. But we have a lot of stream content for the Gundam franchise on top of other variety stuff. Right now it's me, GamingEmblem, my boy Gustav, Captain Chad 23, and O Hikaru O, a part of the group, and we do a lot of stuff Gundam related. It's pretty fun. I recommend anybody who's interested to check out any one of our streams. You can find our info about each of us down there, but it's a lot of fun, and I would recommend anybody to check it out.
Okay. Well, I guess I'll go next.
There we go.
I have Gustav the 13th. On Twitch is Gustav, GUSTAVE_X_III. On Twitter it's Gustav the THE and then the 13th. I'm gonna be trying to post more on there. We also have a Discord. I'll just be putting that in my own. I'm not gonna try to throw that across everything. But hopefully we can start doing some more collaboration through the broadcasting station. That'll be something to look forward to in the future, as well as us doing the podcast. Are we going to have anything in terms of people being able to apply or at least ask for it, or is it just at our discretion?
Well, that'd probably be something we could talk about off the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
But
That's one
I'd
thing I
probably
am a
say
little bit
both.
curious about.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, hopefully going forward we can do more of that. Besides that, also follow me over on Facebook at Gustav the 13th. Same basic concept as for Twitch and everything else. I'm trying to make it a bit more universal. Some of them are just a little bit hard to get handle-wise.
Okay, Maniac?
I'm GndmManiac. I also do Gundam related and mecha related games. Stream a lot of GBO2. Recently, I've been busy, so I haven't really done much streaming. But you can find me at twitch.tv/GndmManiac. You can also follow me on Twitter at GndmManiac. I do have a Discord. I don't even know if you guys even have the invite still.
I'm in your Discord.
Okay.
I think I have one.
Okay. Like I said, I'll try to get to streaming again. Been quite a while. So yeah. Other than that, I can't really think of anything else.
Okay. And I'm EG Magnum. And as always, I'll be posting their information in the description below on the YouTube video. So yeah, thanks for joining me today, guys. And thanks for coming. But as far as speaking of YouTube, I do have a YouTube channel. So search EG Magnum. Again, I've been celebrating that now when I search EG Magnum, I don't see the Magnum gun pop up when I search it from just a random computer as the first thing. So when that's at the bottom, we've succeeded. Bury it under videos. That's all I'm saying. But anyway, I stream on Twitch. I play too many games, but try to stream pretty much whatever I play. Right now, pretty much playing a lot of GBO2 and Path of Exile. And then I was doing WoW Classic for a little while, but subscription ran out, so I don't know if I'm going back to that. Other than that, though, I do have a Discord. All that is, if you're on my Twitch page, scroll down. Again, everything will be in the description as well. I do have a Twitter. Still trying to get used to using that and doing the tweets and that kind of thing. So, yeah, but we're getting there. So
I don't know
anyway.
if I have you added on there. Huh.
I like I said, I need to use it more. I've been trying to get into it, but yeah, that's pretty much it. So anyway, guys, if you're watching this on YouTube, thanks for watching. Leave some comments down below, maybe letting us know what you want us to talk about on a future podcast.
Yes, speak to us.
Yes. But anyway, that'll be it for this one. Thanks for watching, guys. Peace.
Later.
Like, follow, and subscribe.